Welcome, welcome, welcome to the game of Bards, back from the dead. Just in time for Christmas. My name is Alex, and with me is Beth.
Hi! I hope you enjoy our bicentennial podcast sometime.
Yes. Yes.
This could only happen to us.
Yeah, this truly could only happen to us. I'm gonna pause and make sure that the actual.
Is that everything? Oh, this.
Okay.
Did you want?
We're experiencing some absolutely excellent noises right now. I really adore them. Viewers will experience buffering. Okay, but are they actually seeing anything at all? What's happening?
And I try. Oh my god, do I try?
Yeah.
It's great, but
I mean, this is kind of more embarrassing. Because, like, when it's on my home stream, it's like, oh, this isn't going to work sometimes.
Somehow, some way, I blame Maxi for all of this.
Okay. I don't care enough to dispute you.
Reloading YouTube Studio. Right. Okay. No. Are we there? I'm seeing green kilobytes per second. I turned down the bitrate a bit. I reset the network adapter. I did lots of important rituals to the technology gods that I barely understand myself. Heavy keyboard ASMR. That's going to happen, unfortunately. I'm going to try and do a lot of stuff on my tablet, which does not have keyboard ASMR, but you're still going to hear. You're still going to hear stuff. It's going to happen, especially since I need to tweet.
maybe I can cover it up with my own.
Well, that's the thing. Also, is like other people.
So whenever you type, I'll make awful noises, and we can cover it up.
Just screaming.
Oh, just someone new who's do it all. Is that okay? Yeah, she makes these noises.
Why do you think it takes so long for House of Bards to actually come out? Edit out all of the screams.
It's actually that one Twitter account that's like screaming forever. That's me. That's me. It's not actually. I probably shouldn't say that before.
No, okay. If you want like a genuine answer to what the audio problem was in the most recent episode, is that I got very far into like a pretty final edit before realizing that I was speaking too quietly on the episode, and the combination of a noise reduction pass and a silence truncation pass had cut off the second half of basically every word I said. Oh, yes, there are 4 voices here, but we should do introductions again because I feel like that probably got cut off in everything that happened. My name is Alex, and tonight I will be playing the part of creative. Just the general creative, like, portion of a wrestling production company. With me is Beth, who is playing the part of Captain Shadowmoon von Wolfborg, the dastardly supernatural heel, and both on Maxi's microphone. Maxi herself playing your worst nightmare, and Ryan, who is playing Bad Jack.
Hey there.
So yes, there are 4 of us. There would have been 5. Ben unfortunately is poorly and as such cannot join us, which is a pity. But we will struggle onwards. We have a plan for tonight. So let me introduce you to Dreamland Wrestling Coalition, which is the production that I have come up with for us to be playing tonight. I suppose actually there might be people watching who don't know what we're doing, especially if this is going to be archived as a YouTube video. We're playing a game called Worldwide Wrestling, which is by a company called NDP Design that is actually just one guy, and if I could remember what his name is, I would credit him, because that I'm looking it up now. I think his name is Nathan D. Paoletta. Worldwide Wrestling uses the system powered by the Apocalypse, which is basically an engine for tabletop games started by Apocalypse World way back in the day. It's primarily for story-focused games that want characters to do cool things, which is, I think, perfect for a game where you're playing the literal violent soap opera that is pro wrestling in all its forms. Now, because of the game emulating pro wrestling as opposed to actually fighting, there's a lot of wording dedicated to the business and to backstage politics, and of course there are game mechanics where the players will know the outcome of the match before it ends. We're not just going in and then they fight each other and then whoever does the best fight wins. Somebody is supposed to win the match. It's all fake, it's fucking fake. You're not allowed to enjoy it because it's fake, because it's all decided ahead of time and none of it's real. And anyway,
Why have you done this?
Anyway, so that it can be still real to you, damn it, I am not actually going to verbally tell the players on stream when what the outcome of the match is supposed to be. There are a couple of circumstances that potentially might come up, I don't know if they're simulated, wherein you would find out what the desired outcome of the match is supposed to be. Obviously, if a match goes perfectly, and we say it went perfectly, and a person won, you can presume that person was supposed to win. But for instance, there's stuff that happens occasionally in wrestling where, for instance, somebody has a really serious injury, and they have to be removed, and then often there's a code word that basically means this isn't kayfabe, something's gone wrong. So that's what we're playing, and we have an episode of the weekly television series that Dreamland Wrestling Coalition presumably does to run through with you. There's a lot of furniture that I would have liked to have for this. There was a thing where I wanted to make little entrance theme music for each of the wrestlers. That didn't really come together because only one player got back to me with a gimmick in time, and I honestly didn't have the time anyway. So unfortunately the wrestlers do not have themes, no, if that's what you mean. But if you mean, do the wrestlers have, interesting gimmicks, then I feel honestly, you should be able to see from the screen that one of the wrestlers is called Captain Shadowmoon von Wolfborg.
Every time, Maxie. Every time.
This is going to absolutely be impossible to game with me.
Pretty.
On Wolfborg.
Yeah, I think it's probably pretty hard to discern Captain Shadowmoon von Wolfborg's entire gimmick. I get that it can be a bit difficult. It's a bit obscure, but hopefully you can figure out the multiple inspirations I've drawn upon.
So the Worldwide Wrestling RPG book has a fun little beginning. It has the first episode, which that's what we're doing. It's not the first episode of the show, I don't think, but it's the first episode that we're actually playing out as a thing that has happened. So we've done building the roster, we've done heating it up, which is where players have decided who has heat with one another. In fact, I think that's the thing the audience is allowed to know. So do you guys want to like go through who already has an on-screen relationship such that the audience would be interested in watching them fight?
So Bad Jack and Your Best Nightmare have had a long history together. It initially started with Bad Jack looking up to the kind of previous persona that Your Best Nightmare took on before, for reasons unknown to the audience and widely speculated, they simply dropped out and changed entirely to come back as more of a badass. Well, Your Best Nightmare should hopefully infer a lot of what Max's character came back as. And since then, we've just been at odds with each other. Bad Jack very much has called out Your Best Nightmare a few times just as a hypocrite, as no longer living up to ideals, all very dramatically, of course. Standing in the middle of the ring with a mic, just yelling shade. And it culminated in a match where Your Best Nightmare actually broke the leg of Bad Jack. And in vendetta to this, in backstage, Bad Jack attacked Your Best Nightmare with his crutch and essentially put his head through a window of a car in the car park. And Maxie will now describe what happened as Bad Jack walked away.
So like, as you like hobbled away on your crutches, like, Wybie Knight just disentangles himself from the wreckage of the car window, kind of dusts himself off, and then like, imagine the camera just panning up to his face as he's like staring at the retreating back of Blackjack, and then this psychotic blood-stained grin appears on like his face, and Your Best Nightmare's fan base knows that means that he has just marked Bad Jack as like his target prey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I actually asked... What I actually meant when I asked this question was, does anybody have a numerical value to the heat that they have with another player? but this is fine, because actually the very next bit that we were supposed to do in this sequence is actually the guys that... Whoever has heat, you describe what happened last time. So do you want to say, like, how long ago was all of this? Like...
So, like... Well, because wrestling is fake and Bad Jack didn't actually break his legs, like, how long does it take for, like, broken legs to heal, quotation mark, so...
About 3 months-ish, I think, generally.
Yeah, well, since he didn't actually break his legs, like, you could probably, like, say about, like, between 2 to 3 months.
Okay, so there would, I think, definitely in that case be a video package some point early in the show to explain that this is what has happened for anybody who doesn't know. Beth, I have to... This is a tangent, but I have to mention this. So you know how your character... How Shadowmoon is like 5'2", but she's a monster heel.
Yes.
The WWE did a really weird... I don't even know if it was them who did this, or whether it was just like the people in question. I don't know if this was real, because it was weird. They did like a thing where it was heavily implied that like that Alexa Bliss was cozying up romantically to Braun Strowman.
Right, okay.
And Alexa Bliss is... She's billed as the 5 feet of fury, whereas Braun Strowman is, I believe, the biggest monster heel they've ever had who didn't actually have something medically wrong with him to make him that way. Like, he's something like,
right, okay,
like
yeah.
6 foot 6 or something like that, and this just enormous meat mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A legal giant, yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just imagining, I'm like, the tiny monster heel was surely the resultant part of such a relationship, and I'm like, no, that's horrible. That's horrible to imagine products of that, because like, when that child was born, Alexa would just like explode into a mist of viscera. That's horrible. I don't like it.
Alex, we're live. You can't.
I've not
stuff
said
like
anything worse than this. Wait, hang on. That's this podcast doesn't have standards. Yeah. Fuck off. We had like, I don't know. We all right. We have one standard, and it's the thing we don't talk about, which we kind of talked about a number of times anyway. And I don't think that that's worse than that. So that's what we're holding ourselves to.
You know, that's fine, because I did talk about the dragon heart.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to remember literally any of the cursed things
yeah.
we've talked about on the podcast, and I'm not remembering any of them. But I know that they've happened and they were cursed. I mean, there was.
Okay, cool. Let's add Alexa Bliss exploding.
Is it worse? Is it worse than Mr. Tea Time shitting himself to death? It probably is, actually, but it's still gross.
No, see that's funny.
Anyway, so yeah, this is I don't know how to put this. Dreamland Wrestling Coalition. This is the stuff I think that you guys would probably know going in. Has 4 pay-per-views a year. It has Toss and Turn, which is on the closest Sunday to the spring equinox, and it's a Royal Rumble type affair. There's Lethally Lucid, which happens on the closest Sunday to the summer solstice, where extreme match gimmicks are indulged. There's Lights Out, Fights Out, which happens on the closest Sunday to the autumn equinox, and it focuses primarily on the Knightmare title and on no DQ matches. More about that in a minute. And the one that is about to come up, in fact, I think this is probably the go-home show. Like, this is the show right before the pay-per-view, is Midnight Hour. And it is the WrestleMania equivalent for this promotion. Like, Midnight Hour is where all of the, like, storylines get tied up, basically. So, yeah, this is probably, like, the show right before that. The production also has it has a Greatest Champ title belt, which is like the most important title in the company. It's what a lot of the big top of the card matches are fought over. There is also a title called the Knightmare title, which I feel is probably going to come into play a lot here, just because of like the gimmicks of certain players. Is there Hell in a Cell? I mean, they probably don't call it that because it's a WWE trademark, but I would imagine that there are, like, cage matches with closed-top cages. The thing about cage matches is that the default cage match premise is really fucking stupid and bad and not fun to watch. Because you can climb out of the top of the cage. Also, there's a door. It has a door in it. And you can ask the referee to open the door and get out and win the match. But that's stupid and boring, so they always have to contrive a reason why that doesn't work when they could, like, not have a door in it. I have a lot of opinions about cage matches and how much they suck and how much many of the problems with them are solved by Hell in the Cell. So yes, there is probably Hell in the Cell. I think if they do it, it probably happens at Lethally Lucid. They won't do it all the time. They wouldn't have like a pay-per-view dedicated to it the way the WWE do. And I also don't know what they would call it, is the thing. If you have... You can't! You can't just bleep it out! You can't just use... I'm just trying to fucking imagine the, like, using somebody else's the tangent. What? Oh shit! Yeah, like how far? I probably shouldn't interact with the chat, to be honest. We should probably just go. But I got distracted by people being like, "What? What are you talking about?" The Inferno in the box. Yeah, that works. Although it should probably be sleep themed in some way, or maybe themed to like a specific wrestler who invented it. A lot of match gimmicks get like themed to the person who invented it, either in real life or in kayfabe. Except Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho never gets any of the match types he invented named after him or anything to do with gimmicks that he's had. I don't know why. He just doesn't. I hope he's doing okay on AEW. I haven't actually been watching. Primarily because if you want to get it in the UK, you have to purchase a subscription to the Fight Network, and I don't know how to explain that I'm not interested in other shows about people actually hitting each other. I just want to watch a really violent soap opera. So yeah, that is the Dreamland Wrestling Coalition. The Knightmare title is special. It is often held by monster heels or wrestlers with supernatural gimmicks. It exists primarily as a mechanism for creating storylines where heels fight each other. But the Knightmare title guarantees access to either qualifiers for the main event picture or your own match at midnight hour. So it's like pass the parcel. If you're holding the Knightmare title at the go home show, like at the end of it, you get to decide, do you want to challenge at the end of the show for a chance to get into the main event picture, in which case you have to give up the Knightmare title, but you do get to go that way. Or you can just say at midnight hour, I want my own match against this person, and you get it regardless of what. So it's sort of like the Money in the Bank briefcase, but it's a little different because it can be contested throughout the year. There is also a tag team title. I don't think anybody here is in a tag team, though. I'm not going to force you guys into impromptu tag teams, primarily because I feel like we don't have enough time for that, but also because impromptu tag teams suck ass. They're not good. This is probably... it's mostly me doing this, but I imagine that at some point Maxi also will start having strong opinions about how various things that are frequently done in professional wrestling are actually bad. Like, they're not good. So I guess we should start. What is the next thing that we got to do? We got to book the event. And when I say we've got to book the event, I mean I have to book the event. Right. Okay. I think we are. How are we going to open the show? Because I know what matches happen in the show, generally speaking. But we have to decide how the show opens, and I think how we are going to start the show is you have to have like a big. There's no point in like having a backstage segment at the start of the show, really, unless it's like a very short video package to get people up to speed. So what we're instead going to have is the arena is in Birmingham. Somebody in the chat look up what arenas there are in Birmingham, like sports arenas or whatever, and it's probably in one of those. It is important that you know that, because you can apparently gain mechanical advantage for insulting or praising the hometown of the people who have come to see you wrestle. So you need to know where you are. You are in Birmingham, because it's at the center of the country, basically. And I think what we're going to start with is the arrival in the ring of Abby Van Helsing. Her entrance gear involves there's like a fedora, like an actual one, not a mislabeled trilby, and like a big leather duster jacket with like fucking bandoliers of stakes on it, and like imagine the prototypical Van Helsing as far removed from Bram Stoker's Birmingham, England, not Birmingham, Alabama. As far removed from Bram Stoker's Dracula as possible, where the dude's just a doctor, basically. We're like in full like Vampire Slayer here. And for the benefit of the crowd, Abby is a face, but she is generally considered one of the few faces with like a spooky enough gimmick to hold the Knightmare title, which she does. She has the belt on, and she just enters the ring, and she grabs the mic, and she says, "I've got to say, it feels good to have all of you here in Birmingham tonight at my back, because I'm assailed on all sides by the monsters back there in the locker room, the terrifying beasts that are constantly looking to take this title from me so that they can go where they didn't ought. And I tell you what, Captain Shadowmoon von Wolfborg is nothing more than another one of those monsters. And I'm gonna slay her tonight. I'm gonna cut her down." And then she like pulls a stake out of the bandolier and goes, "With one of these. Because now that I've got the Knightmare title, I have to keep the nightmares out. None of them are going to get it from me." The crowd is not... Here's the thing. The crowd like Abby, and they're excited to see Abby fight Shadowmoon. But ultimately, though both of you have cool gimmicks, there's one wrestler they really want to see win this match, and it's not her. So they're very occasionally, when she like works the crowd properly, they're like, "Yeah, go Abby, I guess." I think there's probably like one small stand of like hardcore Abby Van Helsing fans, but
Oh, that must be a sad
I don't know.
reunion.
Like when I say one stand, I mean like quite a large group of people. It's just that it's very obviously like specific voices. Like, I'm trying to imagine what Abby's like target demographic would be, and I feel like it's men aged 18 to 25 who think she's hot but are also really, really into like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, basically. That's probably it. So Beth, you're up first.
Okay.
So
So
yeah, we are live. So yeah, she's out in the ring talking shit about you, basically.
Mist begins to fill the room, and from the entrance where there's a
Abby like turns and looks at the entrance ramp, and like the whole crowd, just like, I think probably actually what the whole crowd do is like do the awu along with, because like they knew this was happening as soon as like the mist appeared.
yeah.
This week's episode.
I love it when crowds do that, by the way.
And so Shadowmoon
I feel
walks
like
out.
Not to say that it's bad, but I feel like at this point your entrance theme is just like absolute dog shit. In that And then it's like, because what I had it like when I was still gonna do the like entrance themes things, what I was gonna have was you know the beginning of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride song where they go like yo ho yo, and then it just like gets hard cut off by this vocoded wolf howl. Because I feel like the fact that you've been piling gimmicks on top of other gimmicks means that you still have like this weird patchwork mishmash of all of your previous shit. So like, it slaps, but it shouldn't.
She's blocked by like her crewmates, obviously, who are all zombies. And as she walks down, she has like her coat removed, like her like long like naval captain's coat removed, revealing the fur bikini beneath. And she still keeps the pirate tricorn on. She has one hand that is like kind of like styled to look like it's metal, and she has one of those like over one eye there's an eye patch, and over the other eye there's a, you know, on Dragon Ball Z, those like little like power reader visor things.
Yes, amazingly.
So, you know, yes, yeah, that's over the other eye. No, she will remove these when she gets into the ring because it's not good for wrestling. So, yeah, she enters the ring. All 5'2" of her. How tall is Van Helsing?
Abby Van Helsing, I think, is not actually that much taller than you. I mean, obviously she's taller than you because you're 5'2". I think she's like 5'6" or so. So she probably towers over you, but she's definitely like, you put any of the big like, even the technician male wrestlers you put next to her, they're generally like an inch or so taller than her.
Right.
This is definitely like a comparison that is most favourable to her of all the roster.
Right, cool. Yeah. So as she's walking up, one of the crewmates like slides underneath where Shadowmoon's gonna stand, and Shadowmoon stands on that guy's back, so she's like near eye level with Van Helsing.
Is he like lying on the floor? Because I feel like if he's like crouched there, then Shadowmoon towers above Van Helsing.
No, he's lying on the floor.
I think when you step on this guy, there's a woo from like one guy in the audience who like quickly looks embarrassed.
Shadowmoon just looks in Van Helsing's eyes and goes, "Big words. Let's see if you can back them up." And that's it. She doesn't need to say no more. She's like,
so you're going for less is more then.
Yeah.
Would you say that's cutting a promo? You did take the mic and you spoke your mind. Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna need you to roll 2d6 plus look.
Oh shit. Which surprisingly I have 0 to look, despite the fact that's arguably all I've got going for me.
Okay, that is a botch. Thankfully, Cut a Promo does not have a specification for what happens when you botch, so basically you just don't get the benefits of like the good results.
Yeah. I mean, she knows it's not like promos have never been her strong suit. She knows she's not the greatest at them, which is why she's just like gimmicks on top of gimmicks on top of gimmicks.
I love her. I would die for Shadowmoon, but I feel like she would be eaten alive as an actual extant wrestler.
Yeah.
Because this isn't anything. Okay, so we should maybe cut for a moment to explain a thing about Worldwide Wrestling. Because we were talking about this backstage, such as it is. And I think the general conclusion that we came to was that this is a cool idea, but it is very much like it sort of leans into pimping the players a bit in the improv sense. So there is a mechanic in Worldwide Wrestling called being the announcer. And the idea is, and presumably the point of this is to involve players who aren't currently in a match on screen. But I, as creative, pick a wrestler who isn't involved in the match to be the announcer for the match. And the announcer does color commentary, recap stuff, and adds their own editorials to the action. And once per match has the ability to put over each player's wrestler, which is like a move that they actually do. They can roll for it. If nobody wants to be the announcer, then as creative, I can be the announcer, but I don't get that move, basically. So the trade-off for nobody being the announcer is that you don't get the benefit of being put over. This is kind of terrifying as a concept. I'm gonna be real. For like we talked about it, Beth. You totally don't want to do it, right?
Yeah, it sounds absolutely
like, to be honest, as somebody who
terrifying.
even recently has listened to a lot of wrestling commentary, I feel like I would maybe struggle with it. But I'm creative, so obviously, if nobody wants to do it, then I will try. Maxie and Ryan, one of you said that you didn't want to do it. I don't remember who. Right,
I said
okay.
I
How does
didn't
Ryan
wanna
feel
do it.
about it?
It's been a very long time since I saw wrestling, but I would be happy to give it a try. I feel Bad Jack has a lot of trash he wants to talk about Captain Shadowmoon.
Okay, so are we going to
on
say then
Wolfborg.
that the guest commentator is Bad Jack? Because you don't, as the announcer, have to be your character, right? It's just that to be involved, you can be an announcer. But they do sometimes have, like, here is our guest announcer who is this person, because they have like a match later on, or because they are a tertiary person who is not in this match but is relevant to the feud that's happening around it.
No, I'll do it as
Okay.
as Bad Jack.
I feel like we should probably. Here's the problem: is that like, in order for the illusion of television to work, I have to keep on the same tab in Discord on my PC. But that means that if I have to like do anything else, I have to do it tablet wise. Let me see. Let me ask Parabot for a list of names, because I feel like we should probably have like characters who are just staff. You know? Good. There we go. Sure, let's just pick the first three names there. We have Sean Howell, we have Jack Patterson, and we have Amber Baker. So I think we're going to have Sean and Jack Patterson on commentary, and interviews are conducted by Amber Baker. Why not? There we go. So I think Sean and Jack will say, okay, so we are welcoming a guest commentator for this match. Sit down here, Bad Jack. I think Jack Patterson immediately goes, "Oh, this is going to get confusing. We've got one Jack, now we've got another Jack. You're bad. You're bad now."
Well, always been a bit controversial. If that makes me bad, Jack, then well, so be it. I'm not afraid to say who it is.
Shadowmoon, I think your entourage get the fuck out of the ring by like rolling under the rope and such, and I think
That's fair.
Abby is helped take her coat off. I think we decided ahead of time that like outside of kayfabe, Abby, whose real name is Charlotte, is like kind of buds with you?
Yeah, she's very nice. Yeah, Daphne sends her a Christmas card every year, bakes some gingerbread cookies for her and stuff. Yeah,
she's
those
one of
kind
your
of
your preferred seatmates on the tour bus.
yeah. I got Pokemon Sword, she got Pokemon Shield, and we've been like, trading Pokemon
Presumably,
back and forth.
like for
Yeah.
you've been doing like quite a bit of because this feud I imagine has been going on. You've been doing quite a bit of like stuff where young girls come up to you and you like pose for like pictures where she's attempting to stake you or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I guess you square up to each other and the bell rings. Here is a point of contention, I guess. A point of order, a piece of housekeeping. Everybody has different reasons for getting into the world of pro wrestling. And in my honest opinion, if I can be just quite frank with you for a moment, the taxonomical division of wrestling moves is quite possibly the most boring part. I don't care. I don't give a shit what a specific wrestling move is, and I'm not going to ask 3 people, one of whom apparently has not watched wrestling in a long time and one of whom never has, to like actively name all of the moves that they're doing.
The only thing I think I've seen of wrestling recently is I watched that scene from a while ago about the dude who ate worms, and that was really gross. I don't know what you'd roll for
I
that.
don't know what you're talking about, but that sounds like a Bray Wyatt bit. Just as a guess.
I think it was it the
that would be a
Dreamland or something
long
like
time.
that?
Moving
I
on to a
don't
Legends
remember
contract
the
now.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fair dude. I don't think that's a wrestling move so much as like that's just a thing that you do on camera to underline that your character is gross.
Is that cutting
I
a
guess,
promo? 'Cause
yeah.
That's weird.
Man, now I've thought about Bray Wyatt and I'm really sad. They really underserved that gimmick. It was like the best gimmick in the whole show. And he just kept losing. I've heard he has like a variant of that gimmick now where he's allowed to win, but he's called like the Demon or something like that, and it's like, okay. I kind of liked it when he was just Resident Evil 7 the person, but sure. Right, so I guess the bell is going to ring. How does this work? Because we done the thing about the announcer. We're going to say that we're going to say Bad Jack's here. So we probably should have specified what kind of match this is before we started. I think it's probably not super edgy, but it's gonna be some kind of like match type. Because the thing about the Knightmare title is that it's basically the edgy hardcore aspect of the show. It's like you challenge for the Knightmare title by selling your soul and becoming a dark wrestler. It's the simple Sith way of getting a title shot, like at the main championship, which means that you start doing really edgy promos and you start doing like match gimmicks that are vaguely dangerous. So let me see if I can just find the match. Okay. Where the hell? There's so much in this book. It has like whole essays in it about like how wrestling works and stuff like that. And there's going to be stuff we're going to have to explain as well. Page 64. answer. Alright, working with non-player wrestlers. Creative generally plays non-player wrestlers in matches. If they prefer, they cast another player into the role of the direction of the match instead. Nah. NPWs never make rolls. They simply take up narration when the player cedes control by choice or as a result of a roll, looking for opportunities to give it back when appropriate. I don't know that either of you started out at an advantage here. Because, like, you failed your roll, but Abby doesn't have the backup. So I think maybe you're just given... We'll give you control at the beginning of the match.
Okay.
So let's say... Tell you what, we won't get too extreme. We'll just say falls count anywhere. Right? The match stipulation is falls count anywhere because I guess the explanation is that Abby said in a promo earlier on in the feud that she wants to slay you wherever you go because you might try to run away and then the hunt is on, and she can't do that if falls only count in the ring. So falls count anywhere is basically just the pinfall can be done outside the ring, and I think you can't be counted out.
Right, okay.
I don't actually remember, but I think you can't be counted out, which means that going outside the ring is not... The referee doesn't start counting until you're disqualified. Like, that doesn't happen.
Right, okay.
It doesn't imply anything else that usually accompanies those sets of conditions, like you can use weapons, or you can just smash people's fucking heads against the... against various pieces of the set. But sometimes that stuff happens anyway. Sometimes the heel makes sure that the ref doesn't see. So I think Abby is going to like square up against you, but she is not going to make the first move, I don't think.
I guess then I go in straight away with some sort of wrestling
You
move.
do a wrestling move on her, amazing.
I do a wrestle on her.
Okay.
I knew this would kill me. I absolutely knew this would kill me.
Probably a side slam, right? Yeah, that works.
That's
the thing. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, you would
slam
attempt
her.
to slam her from the side. I don't know if that's what that's called, but I get what you're trying to describe.
Yeah.
You're not really set up for that, so I think she's probably just going to, like, roll out of the way.
Okay.
You'll get there. It's early days yet, honestly.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I guess if Bad Jack has anything to say at any point, just chime in on that, because I'm gonna have. I think I'm just gonna have the other two not mention stuff too much. Like Sean and Jack will just talk if necessary, but it's early days yet, and I'm still learning the system, so. There's no way you have the +4 audience. Okay. I don't think that would have been a feat of strength, and there isn't any other basic move that matches. If there are moves on, oh yeah, here's the fundamental flaw in Powered by the Apocalypse, I guess, is that technically speaking, I should know when you are trying to do one of your moves and say you should try and do that move. I will only know this for the basic moves because I don't have the time or energy to remember what is on every single gimmick sheet. So it's up to you to make sure that you're like still to make sure that you're using the moves that you have that are specific to your gimmick to the best of your advantage.
Okay.
Oh, okay. For instance, Beth has probably, I think, actually a false count anywhere is probably quite a good stipulation for you, Beth, because you have intimidating, right? Do you want to read that out?
Yes. So when I'm not in the ring, I roll power instead of luck.
Just any time you'd roll luck, which we've established is bad for you, you roll power instead. You also have a move called Will You Look at That Size, which I have to imagine is, like, ironic, actually.
Yeah, I haven't taken that one, so I was like, that's silly.
Okay.
I've got none of this
pick a
world
signature
instead.
match stipulation. What is your signature match stipulation, actually? Because,
I think mine's got... I don't know what... I can't find the signature match stipulations in the thing. So, shit,
is there a quality that you would like the match to have that it currently doesn't?
I want to be able to.
All right, we
things,
can totally turn it
like...
into like weapons is allowed.
Okay.
And I guess the way that I'll do that is that if you just start if Shadowmoon just starts hitting Abby with things, then Sean and Jack will just like go to bat for her, and the referee will ignore it. They'll be like, "Oh, you gotta know that Captain Shadowmoon totally fights dirty and does like stuff with weapons." So that will probably be where we'll go from that. And you start the match with +2 momentum. So I guess you have +2 momentum.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think I have 3 because I get another +1
Okay,
from
I believe
somewhere,
you.
but I can't figure out where it says that. The monster starts with
cool.
momentum +1. Yeah.
In a wrestling match, there are moves specific for being in a wrestling match. One of them is called wrestling, which I guess that's what you try to do, isn't it?
Yes.
So yeah, like let's roll for it instead, rather than saying that Abby just rolls out of the way. If you fail, that's what she's going to do, because I feel like that would be how she would evade that particular move. But if you execute, I'm going to say actually, there's no chance this move will hit, because it's such a weird thing to start with when you don't have like control of where she is.
Yeah.
But it's also like a really easy thing for her to like drop and roll out of in a way that looks cool. So I think that's actually you working with your opponent to execute an amazing and memorable sequence. So roll plus heat.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So what's my plus heat with her? Or is that
I think
momentum?
because she's an NPW, at the moment it's nothing.
Okay. So this roll is in effect there's just straight roll basically.
Okay, on a 7 to 9 you hit it pretty
7?
well, so pick one. Either you retain control and transition into the next sequence, or you give your opponent control and you gain +1 momentum. Okay,
I would
so
like
you
to
give
gain
her
+1
control and
momentum.
she's gonna do a thing instead.
Okay.
We'll say your stipulation, by the way, is hardcore violence, because that's given as the example, and it's pretty close to what you said.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, she has control. As an NPW, all I have to do is try and give you back control, while attempting to do a thing. So we will see. Where the hell? So many. Wrestling is the most important move in a wrestling match, maybe the second. I think it's the most important move in a wrestling match. Your finisher is also a pretty important move in a wrestling match, but you can't just go straight into doing your finisher, because then the match is shit. and that's bad. Okay, so I think you attempting this side slam thing that you're doing and her rolling out of the way allows her the opportunity to come up behind you. And
Okay. Yeah.
she is going to attempt to grab you around your waist, because she is actually larger than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, sure. She grabs you around the waist because there's not really any reason why she couldn't do that. And that is the position that you are in when I give you back control.
Okay. So I think if she's gonna try and lift me up or something, my move is gonna be to try and like force myself back down and roll her over the top of me. I'm not sure what that move is called.
That
I
is a
saw
thing.
it on
That is a
Glow.
thing that wrestlers do. I don't know what it's called either, but I have seen many wrestlers do it in specifically this situation, and it's quite a good. I would say
Yes.
that because that's not what she intended to do, you can do this if you spend one momentum, because it would be an interrupt.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I think
So-
you're allowed to
yeah.
duck down and make things difficult for her in either case, but if you want to actually throw her over your head,
Yeah.
then that's an interrupt.
Okay, yeah. So do I
no,
roll
it's
with
just
that?
that you have to spend the momentum to be able to do it at all. You gain control of the
Okay,
match and
I will do
continue
that
on with the
then.
next sequence. What are you doing now?
Okay, so she'd kind of be
Yeah,
she's went
she
over
came up
me,
to
right?
you
So I'm
in
gonna
order
try
to
and
well, no, you came up to her, which means that you're in the ring corner. It is a reversal. It's not the only kind of reversal, but yeah, what Shadowmoon did is a reversal. I think you probably bounced her against the ring ropes, which means that she is upside down, hanging from the ring ropes by her feet.
right. I'm gonna I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Well, would this be a good time?
Yeah,
to have
yeah, no,
a
absolutely. I
commentary?
mean, to be honest,
Uh,
any time there's a lull in the conversation, like if you want to chip in as Bad Jack and I don't know, either play Shadowmoon up, or I think probably more likely in your case make fun of her, then absolutely, just do that.
So yeah, as this sequence happened, and as it does the camera cut to the commentary, oh, what do you think about what happened? And Bad Jack would have been like, well, it's interesting. This is why you don't really start the match with the convoluted moves. I mean, we expect it with such a crazy character, but it leaves you open to simple, clean counters, as we saw from Van Helsing. The way she just stepped out the way and got the hold on it was beautifully executed. I mean, it's unfortunate that Captain Shadowmoon got a lucky one and got her on the ropes, but I think we're going to see a very typical example of why you need to keep your moves clean, to the point, and just not go all crazy and make things up on the spot. This is a serious sport. People get hurt. You can't just do these crazy things.
Well, I mean, I think you were right on point with the start of that, Bad. But I've no idea what you're saying with the second thing. I think it was very foolish of Abby to attempt that kind of move on Captain Shadowmoon. Captain Shadowmoon herself, very well known for using her opponent's weight against them, because being as small as she is, that's really the only weapon that she has in her arsenal against some of the larger opponents. So I think it's quite shocking for Abby Van Helsing to have just completely forgotten that and attempted to pick her up basically like a handbag. It's disrespectful apart from anything else. I think you were right that she had a really good thing starting off with that strange attempted side slamming thing that she easily reversed, and then she just went into absolute garbage of a move, to be honest.
You see, I see where she was coming from, though. She saw an opportunity, and she went for it. Yes, this is a something that Captain Shadowmoon is well known for, using her weight around. But I just feel it could have been a really memorable moment if Abby had just gone straight for it. If she did, I felt she hesitated a little bit, and that's what allowed the reversal from Captain Shadowmoon. But overall, I see where she's coming from, and I don't think it was quite as foolish as you believe it was. But we'll see how
we certainly will.
All plays
certainly
out.
will. Beth, she's upside down and hanging from the ring rope. You have maybe a split second to do something here. What do you want?
So, I'm gonna grab Abby by her hat. Not actually. Grab Abby by her hat and drag her into the middle of the ring, like kicking and screaming.
Okay. We're establishing things about Abby now. First of all, that she has, like, hair that is long enough for you to do that. Which I presume she does.
Oh god, yeah.
I think she probably has just a ponytail, like a high ponytail, maybe with something vaguely violently hard in the band, like a rock or something.
Yeah.
Which ostensibly makes it look like she's no nonsense and hard, but is actually just so that people who want to do literally this move to her can find where the base of her ponytail is.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. I think this is you putting your opponent or yourself at legit risk by using your physical strength. I mean, the legit risk is like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I pull a fucking hair out.
Roll plus power.
I ruin a scalp, yeah. Okay. Finally, something I can do!
9, okay.
9?
That's a mixed success again, so you can either retain control and transition into the next sequence, or you can give your opponent control and gain momentum.
Mm-hmm. I want to...
Yeah, that kind of makes sense, because like, there's no point in doing the thing that you're doing and not transitioning into the next sequence.
Yeah.
What are you going to try and do now?
I guess try and, like, push her or pull her on.
I mean,
the ground
she's already on the ground because you pulled her off the ring ropes, so like she's lying on the ground at the moment.
Oh yeah. So I guess like get on top of her and do like one of them like.
Okay, you are going to attempt to. Oh, okay. I was going to say you're attempting to pin her, but no, you're attempting to cause pain. Okay.
Yeah.
That might be the same move again, to be honest, or it might be difficult, demanding, or dangerous. I think it's actually probably the latter, because I'm given to understand this doesn't actually hurt that much, but it really looks like it does. So
yeah.
So this would be roll plus work instead of power.
So.
Yeah.
No, will it? Ah! Oh no, that's a -1.
That is a botch.
6.
You get countered. You lose 1 momentum, which you give to your opponent, and they immediately gain control of the match. I think she is going to... Oh, we can't get too in depth on describing, because we don't know the names of wrestling moves. We can't get too deep on describing how physically any of this works, because then we're going to get into like the fan fiction problem. You seen that, like, where this, like, how are these two people kissing each other? That doesn't make any sense. Now they're sort of enveloping each other's bodies. But the thing that you are describing can very commonly be reversed into itself if there is a particularly strong opponent who has not been exhausted on the bottom. So I think that's what she's going to do. She has the size to do that to you. She's basically gonna, like, roll with you when you attempt to do that, and then just like roll over so that she's on top and you're not, and she is going to attempt to do the same thing to you.
Oh, right, okay.
I am really struggling to find how exactly this is supposed to work in the PDF, because it's a very large PDF. Like, it's very exhaustive. There's not even that much that's like chaff here. There's, I guess, maybe the essays are a bit chaffy, but no, it's all important. Good. There we go. Do. See, the worst thing is, like, I saw the bit of the chapter that mentions how this works, and then I've just straight forgotten it. I don't know where it is. Okay, matches end in 3 ways. The players involved run out of momentum. The creative declares the match is coming to a close based on the desired pacing for the show. Or one of the players declares that their wrestler calls an audible and wants to end the match early. Okay, that's good to know. NPWs never make moves, so I guess at some point she is going to pass control of the match back to you. I don't think either of you are sufficiently exhausted yet that this works. Like, that's the reason it didn't work when you did it to her.
Yeah.
It's going to be the reason why it doesn't work when she does it to you.
Yeah.
So I think, she passes it back to you by probably just hurting you. Like, she we'll say that her aim is to make you actually, like, cry out for in the ring, to show that she is causing you harm, because that's like her gimmick, is that she's Van Helsing. She fights the monsters. She causes them harm. She shows they can be killed.
Yeah.
So, like, that's her angle here. Is she doing that stiff, or are you going to help her?
I'm gonna help her. Yeah, I'm gonna put on a bit of a show, like, like, this hurts so bad, good, sort of thing.
You're still in the ring, so roll plus look. Because I think this is, like, demonstrating your character in as much as it relates to hers.
Oh shit! 8.
8. That's a 7 to 9. So you hit it pretty well. Either she retains control and you gain 1 momentum, or you get control and transition into the next sequence.
I would like to get get control back and go back into the next sequence.
She makes it look like it took all of her strength to actually get you to yell, which means that she doesn't have, like, the strength to keep holding on after you do that. So she actually releases you and just steps back into the ring, allowing you to get up.
Yeah. I like kick up. I don't just, like, get up normal. I do, like, a very acrobatic move, like, very, like,
okay. Potentially you could do a move for that, but but I don't know if you want to, because like that would be cool, right? That would be cool to see, and it has like that vaguely supernatural bent to it that you're leaning on.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity now, I think, if you want to work the audience.
I would like to work the audience. I think.
Do you have an audience score on your gimmick sheet? Because I think you should do, but I don't know if there was like a bit that we were supposed to do that set that.
Oh.
Okay.
I started with +1.
In that case, roll plus audience.
Okay.
That's a 7 to 9. You get a pop. You get a pop from the audience. For the uninitiated in the in the actual stream audience, a pop is a very loud, engaged response from the audience. Usually a cheer or a joint expression of shock from a large part of the audience. Occasionally, it's stuff like yelling as they start chanting along with somebody's intro music. Stuff like that is a pop. So you get a pop from the audience. Pick one. You gain 1 momentum, or you take control of the match if you're in one. I feel. Okay.
I would like to get momentum.
You gain momentum.
If that's okay. Because I'm already.
You are. I mean,
in control of the match.
It's your move, but I don't know that like necessarily either of you are on top.
I'm gonna sort of like exaggerate my movements so they're like all like feral and stuff like that. Like I'm midway through like transformation.
I feel like
and
can we retroactively make that your work the audience role? Because I really feel like if this is like a thing that you do, if you have like the Finn Balor vaguely normal wrestler becomes like a feral animal gimmick, people are gonna pop for seeing the bit where you transform, right? They straight up can't do that for Finn Balor because he's in a completely different costume when he's the demon. But like for you, presumably you can like show how you're just like being more animalistic and stuff like that. And maybe we don't have to make this explicit, but maybe you have a different moveset when you're like wolfed out slightly. Like it's the same sort of moves, but you have some more violent stuff on hand, maybe. And I think there's no reason why Abby wouldn't sell this. She likes you out of character, and this is your big thing. So she's going to help you.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna sort of try and like use my. I'm very tiny, but like I know where my weight is centered, and I'm gonna try and grab her and throw her over me.
Throw her over you. Would that work?
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion? And you can do what you like.
Yes.
I would think if you're in the middle of the ring, and she is on the edge of the ring, and you want to attack her in a feral animalistic way, and you also want to be outside the ring because that's when your gimmick actually starts working properly, you would probably be well advised to just sort of like launch yourself at her, like
you know what? Yeah, I want to launch
jump at her at her upper
over
body
me.
so that she gets like swung over the ring rope onto the mat below. Sure. This is a wrestling role. This would be. I feel like this is a signature move for you, though, right? Because this would surely, which unfortunately means you have to roll plus look. But if you're successful, then you get to stop rolling plus look. So.
Please, Daddy, please.
I was going to say you can't call me that on stream, but
10.
Okay.
10.
10 is a full success. You hit it great. Retain control and pick one. Either gain +2 momentum or gain +1 heat with your opponent. Okay. Oh wait, hang on.
2
I don't know if there's a maximum amount of momentum that you can have. There is definitely a maximum amount of heat you can have, which makes me like think maybe we should know if there's an amount of momentum that you get limited to. I don't think there is. I think the limiter on momentum is that it all goes away at the end of the episode. In which case you can get the momentum if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you have... I guess, yeah, you probably need it for your finisher, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So yeah, you hit it real clean, which is... Actually, that's probably really important because this is probably a really dangerous move to do. So Abby figures out what it is you're trying to do. You and Abby have totally done this before. There's a concept in televised wrestling called... What's it called? It's not dark matches, because dark matches are matches that happen at a televised event before the cameras start rolling, but they travel throughout the week and they do shows that essentially emulate what is going to happen on TV but aren't canon, basically. Point is, you and Abby have done this before. You've done it in training and you've done it probably at like dark shows or whatever they're called. Abby knows how to take this. She hooks her she hooks her elbows or probably her shoulders actually onto the ring rope, which means that rather than getting launched by you like into the ring rope or into the barrier on the other side, you basically like push yourself on top of her and then the two of you tip over the rope such that she can still kind of hold on to it and soften the blow of you falling. You retain control, which means that she doesn't get off the counter where she lands on top of you, but now both of you are just sort of splayed outside the ring. And you're outside the ring, which means you don't have to roll look anymore. I think the crowd pops for that, because they know that most of your best work is done outside the ring.
Yeah. So, I would like to get to my feet and pick her up and slam her onto the
excellent!
table.
Excellent! Does Bad Jack have any commentary about this? And by any commentary, I mean, what does he say when he realizes that this is what's going to happen?
Okay. Seeing what's about to happen, I think Bad Jack... I know what I want to see happen.
Oh yeah,
just do
this
it.
is an opportunity if you want to put over one or other of the wrestlers.
Okay. So as her head comes into like the table, Bad Jack's just going to grab it and just like power slam it onto the table to try and break it like to work with.
Okay.
Just seeing the opportunity there. I'm thinking of how it works in the wrestling games. I'm not sure how it translates to real life, but normally two wrestlers will work together to
they will. Generally, both of those wrestlers are legal participants in the match, as opposed to like. But no, I totally get what you're talking about, and I think probably to a degree that kind of thing happens. The bit in the wrestling games where all of the commentary team just sort of like stand up like fucking lemons as their commentary table gets destroyed and look at it like John Mulaney going, oh well, this might as well happen. That's real. That totally fucking happens every time. It's like you feel like there would be like a storyline thing here where it's like stop destroying our equipment.
It's kind of like, normally I would definitely say, like a commentator would stick to commentator, but I always feel like the anti-hero, the gimmick here is to essentially, screw the rules, go with what is
I think the thing about this, right, is Bad Jack helping Shadowmoon slam Abby through the table is not that weird. Bad Jack in character helping Shadowmoon
Yeah.
slam Abby through the table, as opposed to just like helping a colleague do a difficult move safely, is a bit weird. It's like he's just been shitting on her constantly for like the whole match, and now it's like, I'm gonna let the audience see that this is what I am doing in character. There's maybe a way you could play it off. I don't know how you're gonna do it, so you can do it if you want, but it seems strange to me. I will say that much.
Yeah. I guess for me it's kind of like again, like an impulsive person who doesn't really his actions don't match the his talk. Actually, do you know what? What's going to happen instead, which actually might make a bit more sense to you, Dad, is when Shadowmoon finishes the move and Abby is slammed on the table, he would probably use that opportunity to get a cheap pot shot against Shadowmoon then, because I presume they're within easy striking distance once the move has followed through. Would that make more sense?
Yeah, potentially. Sure.
And, you know, just say something to the audience like, you know, keep it to yourselves, you know, don't get us involved in this. You know, having a bit of a blank moment as to...
Yeah, no, I get what you're describing. You would have some sort of, like...
Yeah.
The sentiment is, don't destroy the commentary table. Don't do that.
Yes.
I feel like
yes,
probably, though, Jack would turn that back on you. It is very confusing that he is called that, but also I feel like this has happened in, like, an actual... Yeah, like, Jack would say, well, like, don't involve yourself, man, you're not in the match. Because like, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you intend that to be putting a character... Anytime anything you say is supposed to be using one of your two put over moves, like, do tell me, and then we will see about getting that to work.
Yeah, I would imagine something like, as this was happening and like general commentary was going on, Bad Jack was probably in the middle of just describing something when the move interrupted the commentary. Obviously, the table being destroyed with the commentators on it would certainly interrupt any monologue that he was going off on at that time, and that's why it was a sort of like, you know, quick, like those fake jabs that they do, where the person has the overdramatic like stumble backwards.
Which half
and
the
just
time,
like,
by the way, they
interrupt
don't
me.
actually do. They just stand up as the table is like reduced to, because the table is basically made of cardboard, because you set up the announce table and like people are going to be put through it.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's
but
like
obviously, yeah.
they just stand up. They're like, oh, I guess we're going to stand up for the rest of the match. So I think it's totally like a cool idea for Bad Jack to just not take that and be like, don't interrupt me.
Yeah,
Cool. I don't know if that counts as
yeah,
putting
we'll go with
anyone
that
over,
one
but
then.
it does sound funny. So, Beth, I guess putting her through the table is a wrestling move?
It
But
is.
instead, do you have what's the thing? I feel like this is put your opponent or yourself at legit risk by using your physical strength. Because, like, power slamming someone through a table, even one that has been gimmicked to be destroyed by basically being made of cardboard, is like a physical strength move. So roll plus power.
Just. Okay.
Nice! You hit it great.
11.
Retain control and either gain 2 momentum or gain 1 heat with your opponent.
2 momentum. I'd be gaining heat if she was a real person.
How could you do this to Abby? Her gimmick fits so well with yours. and you weren't allowed to
I
gain any
know.
pre-game heat with her. But
I know. I think then I'm gonna. The idea is I'm gonna get on top of her and try to like bite her, like a la like werewolf.
okay,
gimmick, like,
that would
vampire
be
kind
that
of.
would be the roll plus look thing
Yeah.
where you signature move, demonstrate your character, or showcase your gimmick. I think this is showcasing your gimmick, but you roll plus power because you're outside the ring, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
9. Okay.
9.
You hit it pretty well. Pick one. Retain control and transition into the next sequence, or give your opponent control and gain +1 momentum. Okay.
Transition into the next sequence.
You could have picked either one there because I felt like Abby had like a thing that
Yeah.
she could have done if you.
Oh, well, if she's got a thing that she could do, I'll get the momentum instead, and she
Okay.
can have control.
Yeah. It has been
So
like
far
you
it's
just
been a
fucking
bit-
wailing on her.
It's one-sided for a while.
Now we can pretend that Creative planned this all along because this totally actually works as like a gimmick thing. Because let's be real, her gimmick is as stupid as yours.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said that. Her gimmick is as silly as yours. It's
It's like her gimmick is
Yeah, it's
specifically
true.
targeted at
So like
my
as soon as you
gimmick.
do that, not creative, but like the lighting technician takes the house lights like red. Like suddenly everything is bathed in red light for a moment, and Abby grabs you by like the by the back, just rolls over so that you're on the floor, and then just stands up and staggers away from you, holding like the area that you pretended to bite with her hand and looking at you in horror.
Yeah. And then I guess I stand up as menacingly as I can, all 5'2" of me. And I guess I just point at her with my eyes wide open, and I just go,
Oh my
"One
god,
of
is it the Auska
One
point
of us."
where she opens her eyes real wide so you can see the whites of them and it looks really creepy? And Abby just staggers in a seeming daze around the back of the ring, just holding. She's basically holding her hand there so that the audience don't catch on to the fact that you didn't actually bite her and there's not anything there. And then
Yeah.
she turns and she looks at you. And I feel like you two practiced this, because this is totally you would have had to teach her this thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she
yeah.
does the thing that you did at the beginning of the match. Well, near the beginning of the match, where she squats down and she starts growling. And what else did you describe when you switched movesets? Yeah.
Just acting.
She's totally gonna do that.
And,
I
kind
think
of
she's had to take most of her entrance gear off because it's impractical for wrestling in. But I think she has a belt on that isn't not the title belt, because that would have been taken away and held up. But she has like a belt on that's just a very leather affair with a lot of loops in it for for stakes and things, what you would expect someone like her to have. And she just rips that off, and I think bears it across her chest and just rips it in half. It's been gimmicked. It's totally been gimmicked, so that it rips in half for this. And then she's just going to lunge at you, the way that you lunged at her, to attempt to push you back into the wreckage of the table.
Yeah.
Are you going to work with your opponent to execute an amazing and memorable sequence? Roll plus heat. Then.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wait. What's that? What number
Yeah,
is
there's
that?
no
again?
heat.
There's no
because
heat, isn't it?
you didn't take any.
There's no heat. There's no heat. Yeah.
Somehow,
Oh.
the audience didn't know that this was going to happen, and consequently, there is no heat. even though it, like, in as much as they buy into either of your gimmicks, this should be cool as shit. You rolled a 4, which is a botch.
Yeah.
The botch text assumes that you're doing the move, which kind of implies that, like, that this isn't how this is played. I don't know. There's too much of the book to read while we're on stream as to how exactly wrestling with non-player wrestlers when they don't take moves works. But regardless, on a botch, you get countered, it says. So I have to presume that, like, she gets her thing. You give her one momentum. And she immediately gains control of the match.
Yeah.
So whatever it was that she was trying to do to give you back control doesn't work, and she has to think of something. So
okay.
yeah, maybe it goes wrong in some way. Let me see what moves I could take in this case. Introduces the wrestler's heat. Book show. Starting the episode of wrestling. Momentum, gaining heat after the match. That's the basics. Oh wait, you're totally. Oh, we're doing this totally wrong in terms of, like, these kinds of acts, but also I feel like the way that it's described in the book doesn't actually work with the number of players we have, so it's fine. We'll let you roll dice for this. You're not really supposed to be rolling dice for this particular encounter, but I also wanted to, like, ease us in with, like, a thing where it could be explained. Basically, apparently NPWs are supposed to get dumpstered up until they win matches they're supposed to win. Like, you don't roll dice at all. But it's like, that's boring, and it doesn't actually set us up for the rest of the game. So we're not going to do that. Anyway, she's staggering about, having, like, just, I think, crunched you into the wreckage of the table. Oh, I know what she does. I know why she fucks it up and it doesn't work. She's going to hit the announce team when she didn't mean to. So, Bad Jack,
Right.
she just barrels into you and, like, slaps you against the barrier.
You're gonna kill me.
Okay, I'm assuming this is
You
a good
cannot
time
put Abby
now
over.
to,
I
like,
have
do
looked
a
in the starting rules for creative, because Abby is not a real person. You cannot put her over. Your only choice is if you want to put over Shadowmoon, which
Well, I have done
it is
nothing
true
wrong.
that
This is
in character and
bullshit.
apparently out of character you don't like her. But on the other hand, if you're committed to the business, it's pretty clear to you that Abby has fucked up and that the match is in danger of, like, collapsing. So potentially, if you wanted to, you could put Shadowmoon over as a way to, like, basically save the match from being shit.
It was going so well.
I mean, I'm going to be real. If I saw that, like, if I saw... Is Ember Moon still doing the werewolf gimmick?
I'm messing.
Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like that gimmick would
Yeah.
be served quite well by having her, like, basically recruit a tag team partner by turning them. I'd mark out for that.
So, how does the
Okay, so
getting one over
the
work?
announcer
What-
can
how does it-
put over the one or other of the.
Yeah.
You get one go per match per real person wrestler, right? Which means that in this case it's just Shadowmoon. Let me see if I can find it. The
Okay.
announcer, there we go. Putting over is a move. I think it's supposed to be like a legend, icon, celebrity in a wrestling match. Work real stiff, hot tag down, hardcore violence. Let me see if I can find it, because it's described as, like, a move that you should be able to do. Weird. Oh, okay. The effect of putting over is to increase the player's result on a roll up one success level from what they roll, from a botch to a partial hit, from a partial hit to a strong hit. Okay, so it's a move, but you don't roll dice for it. It's basically the announcer gets to do what would in another game be help out. The announcer gets to, like, save an angle that hasn't worked. I'm going to say you can, if you like, do that to the move that just happened, and we'll narrate how it gets saved. Or you can do it to whatever Shadowmoon does subsequently, if you like. Or you can do it later on. It's up to you.
Okay, so let's go back a sequence just so I've got this mentally right. So describe to me again the move that have just happened, I can, like, mentally...
In kayfabe, what happened is Shadowmoon bit and turned Abby, and then Abby, like, wolfed out and assumed Shadowmoon's moveset and attempted to do the spear where she, like, leaps at her. But it didn't work, and Shadowmoon wasn't in the right place, and Abby bowled into you and, like, slapped you against the barrier. And now Abby's lying on the ground, and Shadowmoon's lying on the ground, and the audience are looking at it like that could have been cool, but it wasn't what's happening. So, yeah, it's your opportunity to say or do something that will put Shadowmoon over, that will help her take this match home.
Can't really think of anything, to be honest with you, so I will...
You could... go on.
I'll tell you what. Does Helsing have any of the stakes or any of the props that she started with
she
near
doesn't,
or about?
But when they were taken off her, they were probably put somewhere nearby to you. So the camera could be on you if you want to, like, go and get them, basically. Like, they'd be nearby.
So if I was to pick one up and go to the audience, just announce, like, well, they say to cure vampirism you to kill the head vampire or the one who bit you, walk over to Shadowmoon and, like, dramatically pretend to go to stake her, and this be a prompt for Shadowmoon to dramatically wake up, parry the blow, and then use this as an excuse to get up.
Maybe even take the stake off you.
I go to do a dramatic staking, and, like, camera cuts to the eyes coming over.
I don't remember what the name of the move is, but if you're you're plunging your hand towards her, she can, like, just grab it and, like, roll you over the top of her, grabbing the thing that's in your hand at the time. It's the kind of move that looks like an interesting reversal, but it actually requires both participants to know exactly what's happening at all times. It's like you've got to consent to it, basically. It's
So I know this is like cocked up slightly, this move, so I'm going to be, like, announcing everything dramatically as I go, and just hope that
this wasn't planned, but I would say that probably the two of you have done this move in practice before. Like, she knows what to do, because I think we're just increasing the benefit of the botched move to a mixed success. Which means, which benefit do you want, Beth?
I would like to gain control.
Okay, so I guess you roll Bad Jack onto his back and grab the stake that he's got, and you're standing up, and you're standing over Abby.
I think before I turn to Bad Jack and I go, "You fool! I was raised by vampires. I am not a vampire. I'm a werewolf."
That's potentially. I don't know that just saying what your gimmick is showcasing your gimmick, but it's close enough that if you wanted to roll that as like, I suppose it wouldn't do anything. It might be something else actually. It might be. It might be work the audience. Perhaps. I'm not sure. It might not be anything, to be honest. Like, let's not make things more complicated than they need to be. What are you going to do next?
I'm gonna stalk over to Abby, who is prone on the fucking this fucking idiot botched everything. It's like,
She
God
did
damn
her
it, Charlotte,
best.
anyway.
You can't stay mad at her, although you're really trying to
I
pretend
know,
you
I'm
can.
gonna look. I'm gonna look at the stake and I go, even my mortal enemy isn't bad
Nice.
enough for this, and I throw it aside dramatically.
That's good, because
And I pin
cool as
her.
it is, I don't know that there is actually a rule for what to do
Yeah.
if you steal your opponent's finisher. Which is bad, because that has happened. I have seen
Yeah.
matches where the one wrestler uses the other wrestler's finisher to taunt them, basically. But I also don't know that that's in your gimmick. I think that's another gimmick's
Yeah.
thing. Are you doing your finisher then?
Yeah. I do not know what my finisher looks like, but it's very cool.
What does your finisher look like? It might be like a pin, except rather than doing it fucking normally, you're so small that you have to basically just lie on top of them and like pin all four of their arms. Like you hook your legs under their legs and you hook your arms under their
Yeah.
arms and like pull it so they're spread eagled, and then you just sort of growl at the audience.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what it is. Okay.
So how much momentum are you spending to make sure this works? Because I think you can spend any amount. Okay.
4 I'm gonna spend. So I can get back down to a normal human amount. And then I roll, so that's...
Yes, you do. Because
Do I
like
add the
that's the thing about
momentum to
finishing
my
moves is that
eventual roll?
momentum is the only bonus you can add to them.
Yeah.
You don't add like a stat or anything.
Okay.
Okay, you hit your finisher clean. You gain +1
11.
audience. Abby is.
Yeah.
Abby knows that she's fucked up. She's not gonna make you work for your finisher. You pin her clean. Your music hits. The ref like rolls out of the ring and grabs the Knightmare title belt from where it's been sitting off stage, and walks over, grabs your hand, lifts it in the air, puts the belt in your other hand, and Captain Shadowmoon von Wolfborg is probably the final Knightmare champion before before midnight hour.
Yeah, I start chanting, Queen of the Night! Queen of the Night!
Let's see how long that lasts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think probably there is a brief moment that they try and run some video package content on, where like basically cleaning crews come in and clean up the remains of the destroyed announce desk. At which point we could maybe let me see. Can we do a backstage segment? Because I feel like probably there's an obvious interview that should be done with Shadowmoon, but I can't find where it is.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I can take a soft move to put a microphone in your face. Sure. I'm going to put a microphone in your face, and I'm going to have Amber. Did we say her name was? Sure. Amber
Yes,
Baker
it's Amber, that's her
is
name.
28 of some ambiguous non-white ethnicity and pretty, which is what the company thinks is, in addition to being able to string more than 2 words together, the requirement for being backstage talent. And I think you're in front of like a breeze block wall. It looks very much like the inside of like a school gym. I have no idea if there are places where backstage looks like this in Birmingham, but that's what every single fucking backstage segment I've ever seen looks like. I wonder if they have like a set for that they put up if it doesn't look like that. She sticks a microphone in your face and she says, "Well, congratulations on becoming the new and probably for this year final Knightmare title champion, Captain Shadowmoon. So I'm sure the question on Von Wolfborg, I'm so sorry.
Von Wolfborg.
I do apologise.
Only my friends call me Captain Shadowmoon.
Oh
We're not
my
friends,
god!
so it's Captain Shadowmoon.
We're
Von
not
Wolfborg to you.
No, this is good. This is absolutely like that's totally a thing. I need to like find the. Do you want me to try and feed you moves? Okay. Well, she says.
I can, yes,
well,
please.
I'm sure there's one big question that that is on everyone's lips. But first of all, how does it feel to be here in the city of Birmingham and have that be the site of your amazing victory?
This city sucks. It's a garbage town with garbage
Do you turn
people,
and look in the camera?
and it stinks. Yes.
Gain 1 momentum. You've used your cheap heat for the episode.
It's a garbage town.
I've been to Birmingham. She's not even wrong.
Okay.
But Amber says, "All right. So I don't know why, because I'm pretty sure the accent I'm doing for her isn't Birmingham. Like she has no investment in that.
Yeah,
I think it's more that you were just suddenly really aggressive.
Yeah.
She's making a big deal about putting your gimmick over by being afraid that you're going to turn her into a werewolf as well. She says,
Yeah.
well, the question on everyone's mind is, are you, how are you going to use the benefit of going into Midnight Hour with the Knightmare title? Are you going to call out a specific wrestler to challenge, or are you going to try and put yourself in the picture for the main event to get the Greatest Champion title?
I'm gonna get the Greatest Champion title, and when I do, the entire world will succumb to being werewolves. I will turn everyone in the world into werewolves, and then they too will join my motley crew of pirates, and then we're gonna cyberize everyone, and everyone will be just like me. Everyone.
Roll plus look. Now, no, hold on. First of all, I have to check your gimmick because, well, because see, here's the thing. When you are not in the ring, I don't know whether the intimidating move saying "when you are not in the ring" means when you are outside the ring during a match, or when you are backstage or just on TV in a non-match context. So we're going to say that it means both, because that's funnier. You get to roll power for cut a promo.
Okay. Cool. Oh shit. Oh.
6. Oh, that's a
6.
botch, I'm afraid. Nothing happens, but Amber just takes the mic back and says, "Looking forward to it." and like they hard cut the camera.
Oh, she's so bad at cutting promos. Bless her. She cannot do it.
How does Daphne feel about Amber? Honestly,
Well, she likes Amber. They've shared muffin recipes and biscuit recipes. You know.
No, they fucking haven't.
Yeah, they have.
mm.
You know, they've you know, they're friends, kind of.
They're
Not
colleagues
really,
on
kind of.
good terms.
Yeah.
Everything is so weird. But I don't know why I didn't expect any less from fucking Claire. I'm dying. I want you to know that right now. Like,
God.
everything about this is killing me.
So the next match is a tag team title match. I didn't make up. I only made up one of the tag teams. Is a problem, you know. But what the fuck is this? I don't. Oh, that's a very helpful tooltip on this button that I don't understand. It says turns on or off the thing that it says on the button that I don't understand. Okay. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I think there is it's a tag team title match between the Flying Monkeys, who are a pair of high flyers whose gimmick is that they're the monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. It's not great, but they've somehow really managed to make it work, and they're the title holders. And Izzy and Kai, who are a strong style tag team whose gimmick is that everybody else in this wrestling promotion is some sort of weird nonsense fantasy creature, even the ones who are just a guy because they're like pro wrestlers. And Izzy and Kai wrestle strong style as an implication that they're just random normal people who got caught up in it in the Dreamland, and they wrestle strong style because they fight like actual human beings trying to defend their lives.
Oh my
Also,
God.
their name is a joke because they're weebs. But like bad weebs, they like bad anime. You love them backstage, but their taste in anime is just dog shit. It's so bad. We will say that Izzy and Kai won that match, which is probably correct because the audience is really behind them at the moment. They've had this whole arc about, like, ever since they entered, they've been trying to find their way out of this Alice in Wonderland thing. But they've been slowly getting corrupted by the Dreamland into branching out and having gimmicks and shit. Well, I mean, it's like the isekai thing, right? About how, like, you try to leave, but eventually you become part of the world that you've entered. When their narrative arc is done, then their creative will probably have nothing to do with them, but not want to fire them. So it's just they'll coast for a bit. But at the moment, people are really, really into that, and that's the tag team title. And then we come to the listed match for Bad Jack. And I guess you're supposed to come out first, Jack?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you were already
facing
in.
the center
I
of
think
the
you've probably
ring.
gone away during the tag team match, but you can come back at this point, and you'll be in the ring.
But yeah, I'll be working up some of the. I imagine there's like a few applause, but like a lot of jeers and boos. So I'm just.
You have the opportunity if you want.
Playing with
Well,
that.
first of all, you have the opportunity for your cheap hate this episode if you want. So you can say something about Birmingham if you like.
No, I think.
Oh yeah, maybe they want to like leave off the cheapy. Although you could totally go the other way because you are a babyface and just praise Birmingham instead. In which case they might have a different opinion about you. Okay.
No, I'm gonna call it on the.
How many people do you know?
More than the
Fair
I'm
enough.
sure I can get at least one.
If not now, then maybe in the future, because this will be a YouTube video like later on.
Yeah.
So you are supposed to. You are booked to fight a match between you and. Between you and the King in Yellow, who is a very ostentatious, presentation-focused wrestler who like dresses all in yellow. He's got like a steel crown on. He gets his face made up so that it looks like it's just face painted to look like his whole face is writhing maggots. His gimmick is that he's Hasta the King in Yellow, but also he, in terms of like being a heel, he's a massive coward. He will do everything in his power to actually avoid wrestling. But that is who you're booked to fight. I think maybe you've been sort of feuding for the past few weeks, in that when he gets like time in the ring to just fucking talk, constantly just talks about how shit you are.
Well, yeah, I would have also called him out like in my matches, just how you're not a real wrestler. You're a massive coward. Come face me in the ring, prove me wrong, but I doubt you have it too. I probably would have said something along the lines of, I will be the Cthulhu to your Hasta.
So maybe this
because
there's no belt involved here. I don't think. I think both of you are conceivably in the actual like main Greatest Champ title picture, but this is not about that. This is him responding to you calling him out most recently. But you're in the ring. You have the opportunity, because he hasn't turned up yet, to cut a promo if you like, or work the audience. There's a fair few.
I'll just be
like moves that you could potentially do at this point.
I'll probably on the mic just say in the ring, he's not come, but are any of us really surprised? This just goes to prove what I've been saying about how he's a coward and does not belong in wrestling if he is not going to wrestle.
That's cut a promo.
I'm not sure what
so roll plus
fall
look.
under.
Roll 2d6 and add your look bonus. Wow, it's a 10 plus. You connect with the audience, so gain
13.
1 momentum, and you get to choose from the following list. Pick one. A. Make creative book you in a match. B. Add a stipulation to a relevant match. C. Gain +1 momentum. Or D. Gain +1 heat with the subject of your promo.
Okay. I will have a creative book me a match. I will say into the mic, this has been an entire waste of my night, of the audience's night. They came here to see some real wrestling. So instead of
I think I know what
losers
you're
like
going to do,
Hasta,
and I'm actually going to interrupt you now.
I will.
But I'm going to get you where you want to be. I just think that like you're interrupted by like the house lights bathing the entire audience in a sickly yellow, the color of piss. And on the Titantron, this like
Okay.
horrible like pair of eyes peering out from writhing worms appears, and you hear, "Did somebody say my name?" And Haster's music starts as like he appears from backstage, clad in essentially a yellow dressing gown. He steps out
Yeah.
and he says, "You're too hasty, Bad Jack. Too impatient. I was coming. They're all back there. They'll say that I was coming. And yet, here you are already saying that I'm worthless, that everybody here has come to see a real wrestling match and that you should have a different opponent. Well, I'm very glad to hear that we finally agree on something. Because I am the King in Yellow. And you know what, Jack? When you're a king, the whole point of being a king is that you don't have to fight your own battles. You have people to do that for you. You have knights. And that is the point when Your Best Nightmares music hits and the house lights change again.
It's horrifying. It's there's like this disembodied laughter to begin with, and then it's like, you know, the noises that hydraulic drills in like electro pop make, with like this ambient background of this just what should be like really nice classical music is just like squeaked up to just put chills
Is this
down
a
your
remix
spine.
of what your
And
theme was before you turned heel? Nice.
yeah,
Is it literally just a key change?
and no, like there's like loads of other, like I think the weird like noises from
Nice.
like the drills and stuff was like an addition. And YB Knight like just appears and like for a moment like just stands there like with the head bowed, just like long black hair is like just shrouding the face slightly, and he's like wears this grey tattered remnants of a knight outfit, and then he like looks up, pushes the hair back off his face, and is like just gaze fixed at the stage, and then like just like smirks and walks down.
Haster takes the mic again,
towards the ring.
and he says, "I know the fight that you really want to have, Jack. And this was my plan all along. I don't want to fight you. I don't need to prove myself to you. But I know how much you idolized the night beforehand, and how disappointed you were to discover that he's not really going to take management's guff anymore. And it turns out that now the two of you have a special thing going on, and I would never want to get in the way of that. I'm afraid that a shot at the title picture doesn't seem to be on the cards for you, Jack, but I'm sure you'll be satisfied with the result of what you get instead. Ta-ta!" And he steps back again as YB Knight reaches the ring.
Can like he exchange like he passed the mic over to me as he
The
walked
ramp
past?
is long enough that doesn't really work because he was at the top of the ramp, but you would probably... There would be a mic on hand. Somebody at ringside would have the initiative to hand one to you.
Oh, okay.
One of the announcers or maybe just a stagehand would like... A mic will be given to you but you can't have specifically Hasters because you're not physically in the same space to do that.
Okay. I think I kind of like stop and like I got one arm behind my back in like what would be a military sort of pose, but I got my legs standing apart to like just go with like the informality and like I like bring them this mic up to my lips and I just go, "Hello, Jackie boy. How's the legs?"
So, when you came on, like, Jack would just be, like, stared straight at you, the dramatic sort of, like, eyes wide as you came in. As you say, he goes, "Better? How's your head doing?"
I'm going to enjoy this.
For once, that's just the call. I agree with you.
When he calls me Sir Cole, my eyes just like narrow and like you see like this twitch in the side of my jaw. I think even the like audience members who have like seen my descent from like face to heel would go like, "Oh."
I'm going to enjoy.
I can't believe that
Trashing
your
you.
gimmick is that you don't
Like
like
you
being
trashed your own
called
reputation.
by your old name before you had your current gimmick. I also can't wait for Maxi in like a year to break away and form the primary competitor to Dreamland Wrestling Coalition.
So yeah, gonna have to do that. I'm gonna find that that coward Haster, and I'm gonna put him through a windshield like I did with you. So bring it.
It
I'm gonna
kind
put
of
you down
sounds
for good
like
this time.
both of you are cutting a promo. I think I'm gonna deny a cut a promo role to Jack because you just did one. But why be Knight?
that's fair.
Take cut a promo. So roll plus look.
Alright, let's see.
On a 7 to 9, you get the audience to pay
7.
attention. So pick one. Make creative book you in a match, add a stipulation to a relevant match, gain 1 momentum, or gain 1 heat with the subject of your promo, which in this case is Jack. Nice! Okay.
I want
you
1
can't
heat.
have more than 4 heat with any one person. Alright. Nice.
I've got 3 heat with him now.
Right, so welcome back to Dreamland Wrestling Coalition. My name is Sean Howell, and for this match between your best Knightmare and Bad Jack, I have with me Whitney Sparks.
Hi there, Sean. It's great to be here in the
I
wonderful
believe
city
it's
of
pronounced
Birmingham.
Birmingham. Whitney, they put those silent letters in just to trip you up.
Birmingham. Oh, God.
Oh god. Oh god.
Really looking forward to this match. It seems like it's going to be
Beth.
pretty intense.
I want to live in the magical world where everybody truly gets what they deserve according to the effort that they put in. But I want to tell you that the internet fucking hates Whitney. There is absolutely no doubt that they completely despise her.
She's normally she's like she is a wrestler normally, and like her gimmick is that she's like a vapid bimbo, like duh.
Wait to see which one of these guys Whitney's a fan of.
She's taking a break at the minute to like have a child and stuff like that. She obviously can't wrestle while she's pregnant, so she's kind of
Nice.
been put into the announcer role for now.
what is the match stipulation for this match? I feel like maybe this would just be like a straight up normal like pinfall, the vanilla match type that there is, because I don't know that there's any particular reason why either of you would want a different match type to be happening. But that said, there was a fly in here. Damn it. Yeah, no, both of you have had an opportunity to add a stipulation to this match, which you didn't, so I guess that's just what it is. Pin your opponent for the count of 3. And the ref makes a show of having to bodily separate the two of you before the match starts. Like, arms outstretched. And waits for the timekeeper to ring the bell. Which he does. Now, both of you are actual human beings, which means that this works slightly differently to Beth's match. Let's see. The first episode. I've just actually realized that this PDF doesn't have as many, bookmarks in it as it looks like it does. It's just that some of the bookmarks point to the same bits of the PDF under different contexts, which is the kind of thing that sounds like it would be cool and helpful and is actually a massive ass pain. Why is it that I'm finding bits of the game like in the PDF and then immediately losing them again? Where the hell is it? The basics, wrestling. Okay, the player with control narrates the beginning portion. Who has control?
Well, if Maxie's
yeah,
okay,
no, there's a specific
I know how I'd want to
player
start
who's
this.
supposed
Yeah,
to
you
have
have
control
control.
at the start of the match, but I don't remember if it's based on your momentum or your heat. Do you two have different heat with each other?
Yeah, Maxie's currently on +3, and I'm on the +1.
Do I... roll moves. Control. Starting the match. Creative chooses who starts in control based on the sense of narrative appropriateness. Often one player will have done better on a pre-match, cut a promo, or work the audience role, indicating that they should start it off. If in doubt, whoever has more momentum starts in control. I think there's narrative reason for either of you to start in control, because, like, you both... In kayfabe, both of you hate each other, right? Severely. And I feel like...
Yeah.
There's been enough posturing already that either of you could start with at the timekeeper's bell, just laying into the other.
So I think that Ryan should be in control because that suits Bad Jack's character way more in terms of like you're a hard hitter, aren't you? get in there and start getting. Whereas like the reason I chose the hardcore was that I can just like stand there and take a beating and just like loom over someone, sort of like a give it a shot before I bring in the big
Let's have Ryan
guns.
start then.
So the second the bell goes, like before the rest had chance to fully step away, still holding the mic, I go in and try to strike with the mic. Just straight off to that.
That would be a wrestling move of some sort. But let me see. A wrestler doing a wrestling move.
It's unheard of.
I like to make the rules.
Well, this is the thing. It could be a number of different things. It could be a difficult, demanding,
thing.
or dangerous maneuver that showcases your technical wrestling ability. Probably not. This is a really stupid thing for you to do, and it doesn't look particularly technically proficient. But it could be putting your opponent or yourself at legit risk by using your physical strength. You're basically fucking striking him in the head with a blunt instrument. Or it could be demonstrating your character through action, if it's like part of your gimmick. Or it could be working with your opponent if the two of you knew that like you were trying to display your gimmick this way. So honestly, I feel like you could choose any of those three, depending on what this is like.
Displaying gimmick, I feel, because it's coming off the idea that there is nothing
that would be
but
roll plus look,
hatred
then.
between these two people. Let's look.
A 7. You hit
that
it
is a
pretty
7.
well. Pick one. Retain control and transition into the next sequence, or give your opponent control and gain +1 momentum.
I will stay in control, and I will just do the same strike again. Just the typical wrestling of like.
Okay, I think that would actually be all one
consecutive
move.
strike. So
if that's what you want to do, because we abstract a little bit more than just like every single hit is a move, and if the point of the move is that you're doing it repeatedly as like a way to express how much you hate him, I think that's all covered under just that roll that you did.
How I imagined it happening a little bit was do the exaggerated strike, and YB Knight, like, his head goes to one side, then he slowly looks back, and then like a second strike, like same sort of thing, he looks to the side at the strike and then looks back. So would that be one move, or would that be...
I'll tell you what, I will
there?
make it 2 moves. This one was you demonstrating your character, but the second one, which counts for the remaining 2 strikes, would be working together with an opponent, because this is like a kind of choreographed bit that the two of you would be doing together. So you retain control and transition into doing it again, right? And then that's another wrestling roll. So roll plus heat. Plus your heat with him.
Okay.
Okay, that is a botch. You get
a
countered. You give 1 momentum to your opponent, and they immediately take control of the match. If you have no momentum, they still gain 1. Maxi, I feel like YBK, it's the 3rd strike, right? It's the 3rd one that he just like puts his hand up and just grabs the mic.
Yeah. Yeah, grabs the mic, and then I want to like lash out with a kick to like his leg in like the place where I broke his legs.
So here's a fun thing. When players botch moves, I'm allowed to take a hard move if I want. I don't have to, and the fact that I don't have to is, as in any Powered by the Apocalypse game, if I had the opportunity to take a hard move and I don't, it's because I didn't want to, and it's not because I forgot that I could do that. Right? Are we all clear on that? That's totally why. That's also why in Monster of the Week, whenever I could take a hard move and I decide I don't, it's because I decided not to, because those kids are having such a bad time, it's definitely not because I forgot when you do hard moves. But anyway, I was scrolling down the PDF and I noticed that I could take hard moves on a botch, and I feel like also this is kind of a hardcore match. Also, you are literally attacking the place on him where he, like... I mean, first of all, this is a counter, so yeah, YBK has the control now, but also announce legit badness is one of the hard moves that I can take. Someone is injured, someone is in trouble, someone has disappeared, something important is broken, someone important is missing. Now that's out of character though, so I'm not going to do that. But well, actually, no. If this is a botch, I totally am. I am going to do that. Your leg is legitimately injured this time. YBK got too hard. So you, I guess, mark an injury. That's a space that you have on your gimmick sheet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Sorry,
you've
buddy.
been essentially pistol whipped with a microphone, and I'm going to say actually that you obviously weren't really injured for real, but as part of the kayfabe like injury recovery stuff that you had to do, you haven't been able to do as much leg training to keep your bottom half. You've had to skip leg day for a while, and your legs are more fragile than they're meant to be. So that's why something goes wrong. I'm gonna say it's not a match-ending injury. It's more that now your leg hurts in a way that's probably worrying, but you can carry on.
I feel like seeing this, and this is just like not an immediate thing, but something that I think YBK will hold on to throughout the rest of the match. I'm gonna try and keep him off the ground for as much as possible. So like I'm aware now that a lot of my moves have to involve lifting him up.
So your gimmick has a set of conditions that activate when you're injured, as long as you have at least one injury check. You play with those conditions in effect. I don't know if any of them apply inside the match, but they will outside. When you check off all of your injury boxes, you can no longer compete. Creative can no longer book you in matches at all. If you want to get in a match, you're going against the company to get in the ring. This generally means you have to take the break kayfabe move. So I would imagine that would be when you have something like what Edge or Paige, or which of the Bellas is it where she broke her neck and it healed wrong and she could never, like, she had to change up her entire moveset so that nothing involved her upper body, and then she was like, it's not actually fucking worth it, I'm gonna retire. That would probably be the kind of thing that you get if you have all of your injury boxes filled out, where you just have like a career-ending injury where you could die if you get in the ring. By the way, this is maybe a controversial thing to say, but I still don't believe that Daniel Bryan is healthy and like valid to fight. I don't believe that the thing that he had is a thing that you can get better from completely. I'm frightened for that man. I'm sure he's being careful, but I don't understand how you could get like a Chris Benoit level of brain gelatin and then like a year later it turns out that it's all gone and your brain is fine. I don't understand. Maybe I just don't know enough about neurology, but that seems tenuous, especially from like a company that would really like to exploit him and a man who really wants to wrestle. I'm sure we're going to get cancelled for me saying that, but whatever. So yeah, YBK has control at the moment. Oh wait, connection went? Hold on, we might have had a technical issue. Is the connection back now? Are we coming into your homes across the bounds of the internet?
Delete. WWE did it. Vince McMahon did it.
I was going to say,
things
like,
about Daniel
it's
Bryan.
only 10 o'clock. It shouldn't be that that Vince or Cody Rhodes should be shutting us down for actual wrestling yet. YouTube says we're live, so I think our connection should be fine now. But apparently it was briefly interrupted. So there is a delay. So possibly we will have to wait to see feedback on whether it's back again. So let's carry on, and if it turns out that we're not actually live, we can just say like what happened in the meantime. YBK has control. What is he going to do?
So I imagine it as like when I kicked into the side of Bad Jack's legs, and like I brought him down to his knees with that injury. So now that he's like on his knees in front of me, I'm gonna like slam my hand around his throat, forcing him to look up at me, and then I'm gonna like lift him back up to his feet.
What's your gimmick, by the way? Are you the hardcore? Okay.
In the move?
I just wanted to like check.
Yeah,
what
I'm the
moves
hardcore.
did you take?
I took Are You Not Entertained? When you suffer injury, enjoy face of overwhelming odds are all real. Basically, on a 10, pick 2, on a 7 to 9, pick 1, gain +1 audience, make creative book you a revenge match, gain +2 momentum. On a botch, they are not entertained, and you lose one audience.
That you get?
It says and pick 1.
Oh, okay, but you also have tables and ladders and chairs, oh my, in addition to your finishing move.
Yeah.
Did you use that? Is this a hardcore match? Sure.
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna translate our fuck up in not asking about that into the company's fuck up and have Sean just say, "Oh, and I'm just hearing that your best Knightmare has used some pull with the dark forces behind the scenes to turn this into a hardcore stipulation match." There's no disqualification, there's no count out, and weapons are allowed. So if you are a fan of extreme violence, then, or if you know somebody who is, tell them to tune in to this particular episode of the Dreamland show, because we've had 2 singles matches that have ended up having a hardcore stipulation attached to them. So it's going to be an absolute treat for them, I would think. Wouldn't you say so, Whitney?
Yeah, and an absolute bloodbath for the cleaners to
we
clean
are really
up.
very grateful to them, I've got to say. I don't know that you can say that word on our television program. So yeah, who has control now? Right. Do you wanna wrestle? Yeah, you're doing the choking thing, aren't you? That is, what is that? I feel like that's another one that's sort of, it's up in the air because it's like, yeah, I guess it demonstrates your character.
Definitely
doesn't
Luke.
It?
Like, yeah, that I'm an asshole.
That's a 7. That is a mixed success. So you hit
7.
it pretty well. Pick 1. Retain control and transition into the next sequence, or give your opponent control and gain +1 momentum. Either of these could work. This does feel like the build into something, but also I would absolutely love to see how Jack is getting back control from being like held in the air in a choke.
I want to give Jack back control.
I
but,
feel
on
like
my
that's
terms.
retaining control.
So can I like?
I think maybe
throw
that is
him
retaining
back
control and
down?
transitioning into the next sequence.
Onto his...
Um,
Okay. So now that he's up in the air, like I've got him chokehold, and I'm like looking up at him, like I just sort of like tilt my head to the side and like give him like this smirk, and then I just like throw him down and backwards, so that his like back cracks into the into the edge of the stage, giving you an opportunity to then get up or like to slip out between to slip off the stage and stuff. Whatever
okay,
you want to do
that
now.
I think
But
would be
I'm not holding you anymore.
another move. So that's either legit risk or working with your opponent. Do you want to roll power or heat? Okay, so basically, in
I
order
want
for Jack not to be actually seriously hurt, you are going to have to be working together pretty closely. But you attempt to definitely make it look like you're just fucking throwing him where you want him. Roll plus heat.
Yeah.
You hit it pretty well.
That is
which-
a 9.
In this case, I think means Jack, it really hurts. You don't think he fucked up the move, but whatever's happened to your leg being thrown that way was not fun. So now, Maxie, you get to make the same choice again, and I presume you're giving him control back and gaining the momentum. All right. So remember, you gain 1 momentum. So Bad Jack,
momentum.
what's going on here?
Okay, so being slammed on the ground and having a bad leg, I'm just taking a moment to breathe and just pretend to be, well, not pretend too hard to be in pain on the mat. And then I'm going to get up and swinging off my good leg, try to spear YB Knight down
Okay.
onto
Sure.
the ground.
So you just, I guess you'd be like right next to the ring rope. So do you like, I don't know, spring off that in order to attempt to power the spear out of nowhere?
No, it's going to just
Okay.
be like a low spear just to try get them down. Mostly, yeah, coming from the fact that the leg is starting to hurt now. I'm just trying to get into moves that don't require it too much, and I feel like going off, if I just hit down on the good leg and try to straight spear, it's going to be less painful than going off the
Okay.
ropes, which is going to require the use of like going on both legs.
Knowing you're in pain, I play up like slow arrogance.
Yeah.
So like I'm sort of like I'm posturing in sort of like yeah, I am so arrogant that I do not believe that he will be able to get up, and I can just slowly make my way over to him. First
Again,
giving
I
you
don't
time to
know
recover.
what exactly this
Yeah.
would be. It's definitely difficult, demanding, or dangerous, and it showcases your technical wrestling ability. So you could roll plus work. I'd say the fact that you're injured and you're attempting to do a move in a non-standard way to protect an injured limb puts you at legit risk and requires physical strength. So you could roll with power. And what Maxie just said implies that you could also work with your opponent to roll plus heat if you wanted. Okay.
I'll go with heat. Ugh, damn, 6.
Okay.
That's not on my favourite tonight.
Beth, I would just like to remind you that as the announcer, you have
Yeah.
one put over for each participant. So you can put over your best nightmare once, and you can put over Bad Jack once if you want. And literally all it does is you say a thing that makes their move go
Okay.
up 1 success level. Because that was a botch on Bad Jack's part, wasn't it? So I'm not
Yeah,
saying you have to
yeah.
do now, but this is the first
Okay.
time a botch is
6,
actually like. come up, I think, that you could deal with that way. So you get countered,
Okay.
Ryan. So you give 1 momentum to your opponent. So you lose 1 momentum, and YBK gains 1 momentum.
Okay.
I presume that Whitney is not going to put over a wrestler at this time.
Not right now. Like it's
It's
like,
early in the match
she thinks
too,
they-
and
she
like
thinks
this
they
is
can pull it back. They're smart ones. They know what they're doing.
unlike Shadowmoon and
Yeah.
Abby, these guys actually have heat with each other, which means the audience want to see this match. Which I think is unfair because I would totally watch the Shadowmoon Abby match. That sounded cool. I would mark for that.
Yeah, it's just women's wrestling. No one cares about
Most
it.
of my favourite wrestlers are women.
That's unfair. They do now.
I'd probably mark out for this match as well, provided I'd been present for like the lead up to it, because this is a pretty like interesting heat story. So who has control?
Think.
You previously had control just then.
Yeah, but I botched. So go
Oh,
back
by the
to
way, all of
YB
you have
Knight.
access to the interrupt move, where you can just spend 1 momentum to take control for yourself. It's more relevant in this match because, like, you're both actual people. So,
So what did you botch attempting to do?
That was
so
to
how
try to
does it?
spear you down.
Okay,
I
so
just know I botched. I'm not sure. But I imagine I've connected, but instead of spearing.
well,
down,
you said
just,
you
like,
said that in order to avoid
stood
injury, you
firm
were attempting
against
to go
it.
for a very low spear, just sort of along the ground. So I imagine it probably looked a bit more like a touch rugby tackle.
Yeah.
So maybe that just doesn't work.
Okay. Elbow in the back of the elbow straight down in the back. So
What are you doing again?
floor him. So like he attempted to like spear me, so he's like locked around my waist in like a prime position. For me to just like bring my elbow down straight into
That's
his back,
another roll
so
plus
that like
power,
he
'cause it
ends up like
requires
face
physical
first on the
strength, and it
floor.
puts your opponent at legit risk.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, do it.
To be fair, like I might botch this. I'm not great with. I do.
Okay.
I botch. I only got a 2.
Yeah, this is...
Holy shit! This match. This isn't wrestling. This is just watching two friends beat each other to death on accident.
Sean is going to attempt to
Killing my
like
friend.
roll it up here and say, yeah, wow. I mean, there's a lot of these moves. I've got to say, Whitney, they're looking incredibly brutal. You can really feel how much these two have come to absolutely despise each other. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, Sean, it's looking really barbaric out there. Maybe sometimes violence isn't the best way to solve problems.
Oh
And
my
sometimes we just need to talk to each other and hash it out peacefully. But perhaps here it's just not an option. It's sad that the
Yeah.
game has come to this.
Tag team.
She's pregnant, you monsters!
Just team up and kill Whitney's dog.
This is the tag team everyone wants to see.
She's 8 months pregnant, you monsters!
Oh yes!
We are the bad people.
Sean says, "Well, I mean, yeah, I think maybe it would be preferable to this to see them work it out with words, but that's not where we've come to, and that's not what Hasta, the King in Yellow, was the architect of here. It really feels like one of them's going to kill the other."
Maybe this shouldn't be. Maybe this is a match to the death. Maybe this is a death match.
Do you want that to put somebody over, Beth? No, but like,
I think so. I don't know really what you can do in this
maybe
situation.
this is a match because it's mostly stuff that you say that's going to put someone over. So like, maybe this is a match to the death, and maybe this is a death match. Is like a cool hardcore thing to say that makes the image of these two wrestlers fucking up moves and legitimately injuring each other look intentional. So it's probably the best thing she says. I'm just wondering who is that putting over though, because you have one put over for each. So I guess that's
it's role.
It's YB Knights being put over.
That's for the night then, yeah.
It's like maybe he actually wants to do the moves bad and like legitimately injure his friend.
Maybe killing his best friend is intentional.
Maybe he took my books when we were on the tour bus together. Because he like said, "Oh come on, Kyle, you need to hang out with us more."
Okay,
like,
so that pushes it up from a botch to a mixed success. So you've hit it pretty well. You can either see you did botch that, right? You were attempting to elbow him in the back, and you can retain control and transition to the next sequence, or give him control and gain 1 momentum.
Can I give him control by like disengaging to sort of like leave the ring to go and get something from underneath the ring?
I would say that the time it takes for you to go and get something from under the ring is definitely the sort of like time period where he would be, regaining his strength and preparing to do something else.
Yeah, exactly. I'm also then taking the audience
if he's
eye
like
away
got up
from
in the
him
ring and is ready to do something to you, it's like it's a surprise because presumably the camera is following you as well. That's like the other thing. I could totally see that. Yeah, that's a good. I'm mostly making calls as creative here based on yes, I have seen that happen in a televised wrestling match. So it strikes me as a reasonable thing to do. So sure, you do that. Ryan, Badjack has control back.
Okay, I'm going to crawl over to the mic,
because you were wailing on him with it, weren't you? So
in the ring.
It's just been dropped in the. I presume like the audio tech knew you were going to do that, so the mic itself is being turned off and on remotely so that it doesn't just kill everybody's ears. But you can, you can pick it up, and as soon as you pick it up, Mic Tech turns it on. You're live to speak.
And as I using the ropes, pulled myself up and leaned on them, speaking to the mic, going, so people think this will be a death match. Well, fine then. I'm willing to end this on a death match. And then, gritting through the pain, I want to run across the ring and try to do a slide. So when your character reaches underneath the ring to grab something, like just a sliding kick.
I have a question.
I'm gonna grit through the pain.
While YB Knight is under the ring, logistically that wouldn't work. Are you attempting to kick him in the head when he's about to go under the ring, or when he's coming back up again? Okay.
When coming back,
you're kicking him in the head, so this is a legit risk physical strength plus power thing.
Okay.
Oh my god, you're gonna kill me.
That's a botch. That is a fucking botch.
That is a botch.
Oh, someone.
That's a botch.
Oh, can someone put me over, please?
Beth?
Put him over.
Beth? Well, I mean, only Beth has. I'm creative. I don't have the ability to put to put him over. Beth does have that ability. Beth has one more put over, and it is for Bad Jack.
I feel like Whitney's like crying actual tears at the like completely broken carebear. She's just like, fuck, they're both gonna die. And she's just like
put over
no,
my
like,
It certainly did.
That
Things
wasn't
are
intentional,
really
please.
heating up here.
Yeah, I mean, my God, you sometimes you wonder what goes on behind the scenes at these matches, don't you? I wonder
Well, I
who's
mean,
betrayed who, stole who's.
We saw that on screen, Whitney. We in that prepared video package on previous episodes. You know, they've been attacking each other and putting each other through car windscreen shields and all of that stuff. So I suppose this is just the sort of escalation that we really should have been expecting at this point.
I know,
Absolutely
I mean, it's just,
awful,
it's
and yet
awful, Sean.
we
I
are
mean,
powerless to stop it.
Jesus, like, absolutely.
And I tell you what, Winnie, it kind of looked like
can't do a
YB Knight
fucking
was going under the ring to collect some sort of extremely deadly weapon. So doing that sort of very dangerous move in an attempt to kick him in the head might have been the only way that Bad Jack could defend himself. Would you agree?
I would say so, yes. But it would have cost been tragic if it were.
Oh,
a
definitely
friendship
so.
based
I
on
think
or
any
something
attempt
similar,
to
but
try and
I
make up between the
suppose-
two of them would, if that's the sort of thing that was, it's definitely been brought to an abrupt halt here.
Absolutely.
That's both of
absolutely.
your putovers gone
Oh
Beth,
my.
pretty early on.
Right, guys. Don't roll bad anymore.
That is a 7 to 9 mixed success. So I guess you kick him in the head pretty good, but you don't do it in a way that actually injures him. He like rolls with it so that he has the thing that he's pulled out. Like he just sort of like rolls backwards, like with your foot, and pulls the thing out from under the ring without it getting stuck and like actually hurting him or anything like that. So Ryan, do you want to retain control and transition into the next
That's
sequence,
good.
or give your opponent control and gain 1 momentum?
I'm gonna gain the momentum. I'm just gonna take some time just to play up
Okay.
to the audience that really hurt my leg. So yeah, just like spend some time like just rolling on the ring.
Yeah, it's
grabbing
good.
my leg.
It's good to remind the audience
Yeah.
that there's like been
I have a question.
pre-established leg
Was it the
injury
actually
Yeah.
injured leg,
between us.
or are you really hoping that the
Sorry,
audience can't tell which of your legs is which?
No. I'm gonna try. I tell you what, I'm just gonna go on my stomach and just like try to
Okay. You didn't do a move with the
hide
injured
which
leg,
leg it was,
alright.
but it was not the injured leg.
Mm.
Because that really would have hurt.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
think
he's
my
an
character
anti-hero. He's not.
could
He's
have been able to
not
pull
like
that off.
actually dangerous to work with. Well, I say that, but
Yeah.
all right, cool.
But on stage,
So you're hoping you're actually clutching your injured leg, but that wasn't the leg that you slid with. You've done a bit of sleight of hand switcheroo to make
that
it.
wasn't the leg. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody watching the tape back would probably be able to tell that's not the leg that he
Well, it's a
attacked
leg,
with.
yes.
But like anybody in the arena now or watching live is like, oh no, what's he done? What's happened? Maxi, this is really good. Like I would not be disappointed.
This is a great match, by the way.
This is the main event. I don't even know if it is the main event. We might have another like match at the end, but it would be between NPWs, so we'd just resolve it pretty quickly. I don't know how high up the card you guys are is the thing. Also, given that there's no title at play, this seems like a really weird match to be the main event of a TV episode. This is just you two beating the shit out of each other for effectively no reason. Sure.
Hey, we have lots of reasons.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, last season was like just
so what's
establishing all
Friday
the
night gonna do now?
backstory.
So the thing that I pulled out underneath the stage is this prop black
Now-
claymore. It used to be like my old like
When you
silver
say
claymore,
prop
but
black
it's
claymore,
like this.
are you
makeover.
describing effectively a toy, or it looks like a real sword but it's been gimmicked that it won't cut people's heads off?
It won't
Okay.
cut people's heads off, but by like it's still fucking heavy, and it'll like.
Tiffany
She's
is
so
watching
traumatized.
through
She's so
the cracks
traumatized
of
that her name
fingers.
has changed
She
to
is
Tiffany.
Fucking terrified for what's coming next.
Yeah. These
Whitney.
violent boys yeeted her name
Whitney.
right off.
When these apps, she's just.
She had to
fucking
just grab
terrified.
one that was lying around.
The fair took it.
Okay. That's not in and of itself a move, but potentially that's like another thing that isn't a move. It might be working the audience, because presumably the audience have some degree of affinity with this object, given that they've watched you use it. Do you want to work the audience then?
Mm-hmm.
You roll plus
okay.
audience.
So
which you should
work
have some
the
degree of.
audience. I don't think I have any plus audience.
Okay.
Oh wait a minute, hardcore starts.
Have we
when
actually
the
seen a
audience
move that
to
increases
plus
your
one.
audience yet?
Um,
Yeah, I think it's equal to your momentum if I'm reading this right.
Let me see.
your
I'll
momentum?
like.
I don't know, I'm
'cause I
not
have
sure how
access
this
to the
works. I
PDF,
could be
I'll,
wrong
like,
there.
actually, like, Shadowmoon, I think, has 2 audience because she gained one from doing her finisher. Beyond that... Oh, no, wait. I think it's... Oh, okay. No, audience comes from your, like, gimmick-specific moves. So your finishing move will always have something to do with audience, but there's also generally another move that you have access to that would involve audience somehow.
so do I get audience as a result of having it
No,
be a
the
hardcore
move will
violence
say
stipulation
if
match?
it has audience, unless that's what it does say. Hardcore.
Oh yeah.
So the audience move for the hardcore is your finishing move creates audience, and Are You Not Entertained creates audience.
Mm-hmm. So currently I have no audience.
You start and reset at audience 1, so
It
you
says,
have audience 1.
oh wait,
You
the
can roll
hardcore starts and reset. Alright.
Okay. You get a pop from the audience because they recognize
7.
this object. You can either gain 1 momentum or take control of the match if you're in one. Okay. I'm gonna give Jack control
I'll
of the
gain
match
momentum.
then. Because you spent your turn, I guess, doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a good use of the turn.
Mhm.
I like the idea that he moves
So-
with slow confidence.
seeing the
dreaded Claymore.
Claymore come out. So this is a replica of your original Claymore.
Yeah, like but it's like it's been made to look all spoopy and black and yeah, it used to look like how it was, and now it has become a thing of great evil.
So seeing him part of his signature weapon, I'm gonna go to the mic again, backing up, getting a bit of distance. Like, I see you've brought out your weapon. You want to get serious? Fine. I knew someday I'd have to fight you a bit. So I prepared a little surprise. I'm going to yell to the audience, boys, bring it out, and I'm just going to drop you a quick
I have
DM
a feeling
of what
I know what it is that you want to bring out, and I'm worried. I'm extremely concerned. Okay. Is the word that is not a word a metal?
Hold on a second. Max is doing Discord things.
Okay, cool.
I presume that was what the original sort of looks like. Yeah,
a weirdly like fantastical turn for this match. I'm into it. So you're bringing that out. I mean, you've DM'd it. Sorry. Oh, okay.
I want someone to run out down the ramp with him. Don't throw a clip!
Yeah, okay. So that would be a run-in
Put it
from
in the
a
ring.
non-player wrestler. I'm gonna take advantage of one of the extreme benefits of running a Powered by the Apocalypse game, which is that as the GM, you don't have to decide what everything is. If you want to introduce a character who is doing a run-in to give you this object, you need to tell me who they are and what their gimmick is. You don't actually have to choose a gimmick role for them, but tell me because is this a wrestler? Is this a manager type person? Because if it was YB Knight, then maybe Hasta would be doing it, but you don't have a friend in this fight that's appeared thus far. So who has done this? Mm-hmm.
So, it's going to be a wrestler, and it's going to be the wrestler who. It was a match that wasn't that caused your a match gone wrong was caused your downfall to the heel.
No one actually. Big mystery as to. I used to be a face, a so cold, noble knight. Then I went away for a while, and then all this fucking motif, and no one happened.
Actually, yeah. Then screw that. I'll have a just stage manager, stage hand, just to.
I mean, I don't. That's not.
With
that's
it.
kind of not the sort of thing because it's vaguely in character. I think the company would not want to have a stage manager do that. Instead, they would get they'd get a jobber to do it, basically. They'd have a talent that the audience would believe that even if they have no connection with you, could be basically ordered around because they're a simpering weakling.
Then could I have someone another wrestler who just potentially has beef and heat with
well, we could say that it's somebody who has heat with either YB Knight or Hasta, because Hasta put you in this position. So you could imagine that maybe the audience would be like, "Oh, right, okay." So those ordinarily, this guy wouldn't like Jack, but because of
No, it has to be YB Knight because I think the whole point of this is the YB Knight coming in was sort of a surprise to the audience, and the angle I was going for is this was set up on a potential future match with YB Knight, so it would be someone eat with YB for.
Well, if in that case, why doesn't Maxi create this character?
YB isn't that fine? Yeah. Who runs in with your original Claymore.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks a lot.
And hamster wheeling.
I like try like me and Max's character do have a small amount of heat because there is an audience expectation that a match between us would be fucking rad.
Yeah, but that doesn't technically count into sort of like.
And I don't-
It's not
maybe-
real heat. It's not real heat. It's just hype.
I have maybe
Interacting
creative
with
likes
one another,
teasing that you might have a fight, but like it's not happening at the moment because these two are in a feud. So maybe you could have like a carry on bit from the earlier match where Shadowmoon comes out with Abby and sends Abby down with the sword. And then, like,
Yeah,
the audience
yeah,
can
okay.
rationalize it any way they
Okay,
want. They
yeah,
can be
that
like,
sounds
oh,
Okay.
like Shadowmoon wants a fight with YB Knight, or Shadowmoon is paying back Jack for like helping in her previous match, or anything like that. Depending on what level of Mark to Smark they want to be.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, yeah, or maybe that. Well, like, you know, like, oh well, Shadowmoon's not a face, but she's not without honor. You know, like
To be
she's not
honest,
gonna just,
I
like,
imagine that in this
this isn't an even fight,
promotion,
you know?
like
You know,
any
like,
action
oh.
that is taken by a spooky heel against another spooky heel can be rationalized away by the viewing audience as so and so. Well, no, like so and so is the incumbent of the Knightmare title and doesn't want
They want to fight.
legitimate challengers to the Knightmare title to exist, right? Because like Shadowmoon has the Knightmare title now, so maybe Shadowmoon wants the
yeah,
spooky
yeah,
evil
yeah.
like knight who potentially could challenge for it to not be alive. You know?
Yeah. So yeah, like I guess you would see Shadowmoon
I think
appear,
Abby has
and
this
she would just like
really,
wordlessly
really,
send
like,
Abby down with the sword.
massive, like over-egged, poultice bandage on her shoulder at this point. Like, yeah. But she just like runs
yeah,
down
yeah.
and chucks this. I think it has a scabbard, right? It would have a scabbard. So that it can be chucked from the blade, which is the coolest way to chuck a sword.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine.
But it's just like slid into the ring and slid across the canvas towards you, and it is a silver replica of the original Claymore.
So I want to lift it up and like dramatically pull it out, and then as sarcastically as just motion can convey, I want to kneel in false piety, like as a knight would, which I imagine was back when you were Sir Cole. That was your signature for when you pulled out the blade.
Oh, you dick!
So yeah, just throw this in your face.
Sorry, throw this in your face? What? Oh.
Metaphorically speaking, just like being quite like this whole thing was meant as like an insult to towards your past, which is obviously a very touchy subject.
I think this is work the audience. What's
Okay. What am I? Is it
Let's see what your audience thing is to start off.
So
Whatever you have a
start,
plus
+1?
one.
Okay.
Nice.
That is an 11.
You roll an 11, so that's you get them where you want them, so you gain +2 momentum from just the audience cheering their heads off at you, like aping YB Knight's original gimmick. They know that some real
Yeah.
big deal shit is going to be happening.
Okay.
I'm going to pass control.
Not
back
sure where that
to
leaves us.
YB Knight.
Does it-
I think generally speaking,
Yeah.
we're playing this game very wrong, by the way, because I have not had time to properly go through the book the way that I'd like. But I'm going to say basically that it makes sense in the narrative flow of the match, which the book leans on quite a lot as a justification. But any time that isn't a wrestling move in the wrestling match, you pass control back to the other person because they have time to get in position to do a wrestling move on you. Right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I love how, despite the absolute bloodbath that this match is, nobody has rolled the work real stiff move yet because nobody has actually tried to injure anybody else on purpose. It's just that the two of you are like beating the shit out of each other. You do. You have weapons. We're in trouble.
We have weapons.
YB Knight, you're
God.
outside the ring, and you see
What
that
have we
inside
done?
the ring, Bad Jack has a copy of your old sword. So you both have swords now. I think, in fact, Sean even yells, "They both have swords now," which is probably going to get made fun of by like internet wrestling fans, being like, "Yeah, Sean, describe exactly what is happening on screen." But it's like, that's literally, what the fuck.
I feel this episode is going to get spliced of like Bleach anime in this world just to make memes from.
Yeah, this is definitely make like a Watch Mojo list of most botched
I love like
matches
probably
in-
the subreddit is going to be like somebody's going to come
in
in and make a
wrestling
post and it's like,
history.
hey, that Bad Jack YBK match was so fucking brutal, I loved it. And then somebody's going to be like, I was there and I listened backstage and it was literally just them fucking the match up really bad. It's like Bad Jack got injured for real and then they just kept missing their moves and like actually hurting each other. I mean, I feel like
I bet
creative have
creative
just got to
are having
take
an
this as a
absolute,
brutal
like,
bloodbath of
nightmare
a match and
with
change
that.
your
Oh,
story
yeah.
trajectory to like account for that, because there's no way that whatever it is you were going to do before is going to work now. Especially when this is probably the best match that you've had in like weeks.
I feel as though this is like going exactly.
I was there and I was listening backstage.
Right, so
Good grief.
YBK, what do you do?
I mean,
a
I
mic
don't
is
have, like, a
available from
mic or
across the
anything.
barrier
I can hear
if you
me
would like
comment
one.
on anything,
They have
right?
somebody stationed to give you a live mic if you reach for it. That's a thing that you can do, basically. If you want to do a move that
Okay,
requires
cool.
a mic, then you can totally do that. In fact, honestly, I feel like the only time that I'm going to deny you the ability to do a move that requires a mic is if you are literally inside a wrestling move that would make it logistically impossible for you to speak into a microphone you are holding. And even then, if somebody else can get in the ring and hold it up to you, then that can work. It's just like if you're, actively being suplexed or something, then no, you can't have a mic. But you could have a mic now if you wanted one. Hello. Right, okay. I was concerned that
Yeah,
the
I'm thinking.
Discord was having a problem.
I think like all I really want to say is just like cute, very cute, and like I'm going to re-enter the ring.
Okay,
to, like,
so is you
smash
saying
the
cute
fuck
or you
out of
entering
you.
the ring the move? Is you saying
Well,
cute
like,
the move, or is you entering the ring the move? Okay, entering the ring to do what?
Entering the ring should be the move. Step up to this little brat who's still got
Right,
a hard
but-
on for like the way I used to
Okay,
be.
you do that, and then what do you do?
Alright. So what are you still like kneeling? With the-
As you get in, I imagine I would stand up, like, do a, bring it, come at me sort of gesture.
So like, I wanna kind of like slam the pommel into you.
Okay.
Okay, Maxi. The pommel of a sword
Yes.
is a blunt instrument, which is why it's effective as a weapon for hitting people with if you require a blunt instrument
Yeah.
when normally you have a sharp one. This remains true even if the sword itself has a gimmicked blade. What I'm saying is this counts as work real stiff. Roll plus real.
Oh shit. Okay. Can I like do? I want to use my heat with black.
You could.
Blackjack,
Alternatively,
so
if you wanted to
I
do
guess,
this
can I
move
just
but for
sword fight
fake,
with them?
you potentially could work with your opponent such that like he doesn't get hit with the pommel of the sword, but it doesn't look like you being incompetent. That's a thing that you could work with your opponent to do. He could be like, "Oh no, he's going to hit me with the pommel," and just like follow the pommel down and just get out of the way just in time, and maybe you like hit the canvas or something like that. You could roll plus heat in that case to work with your opponent, and then nobody gets hurt unless you fuck it up. In which case, if you fuck it up, I am definitely giving him an injury.
Okay. I want to use heat for that because in my mind, using the pommel instead of like immediately going into like a faux sword
it's
fighting
not
backdrop
taking him
was,
seriously, right?
In my mind,
if you sword fight with him, you accept him as an equal.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you're not even worthy of my blade right now. I just
No, I get you.
put you
yeah,
to
roll
one
plus heat then.
side like the stupid little child you are. Cool.
Nice, that's a 10
Nice.
plus. You hit it great. Retain
So
control
that's,
and
a
either
12.
gain 1 heat with your opponent or gain +2 momentum.
I'm gonna increase the heat. I'll max out to 4 now. Because, like, now I've got enough so that we can stop hurting one another at my end and I can just, like, choreograph shit with you.
Okay. So, yeah, you retain control. What are you going to do next? Okay.
I feel as though, like, a
hmm.
maybe choreographed sword fighting.
That's probably work with your opponent again, because it takes 2 to tango, right? You gotta be sword fighting with him.
Yeah, no, we knew
okay,
it
roll
would
plus
come
heat
to
then.
this, so
Yeah.
we already...
Okay, you hit it pretty well. Might be that
9.
you haven't quite managed the level of brutal violence that this crowd would expect in order to be entranced by a sword fight. This isn't what they see every day. Pro wrestlers don't fight
They
with
want
swords.
more?
They don't generally fight with weapons each at all. So, like, this is kind of outside the wheelhouse of wrestling fans to properly appreciate. But they think it looks cool, so it's a mixed success. You can retain control and transition into the next sequence, or give your opponent control and gain one momentum.
I'm gonna give Ryan control. But I'll give back Jack control and I'll gain a momentum. So that, like, potentially you'll transition us out of the sword fighting.
Yeah.
Cool. Because, like, this... I feel as though using a sword, like, fits my knight motif, and, like, now it's, like, your turn to just be like, okay, back to basics.
Yeah. No, don't worry. That's what I was planning on doing.
Okay, so who's doing what?
So now it's my turn. I'm going to wait for like the appropriate break in a sword fight to do a quick backhand to YBK, and like choreographic. So as they stumble back, drop the sword and go for a drop kick on them. Actually, I wanted to like wait until we're relatively close to the ringside to do this. So when I do the drop kick, YBK is just like falls out of the ring.
That sounds very complicated. Is it particularly relevant to your character?
No, not really. I just thought that'd be a good way to.
Are you attempting? Is it
get the
you're
weapons
attempting to
be dropped.
kick the whole of YBK over the ring rope? To be clear, you can do what it is that you're trying to do. I'm just trying to triage it into a category in the wrestling move. I think this is a difficult, demanding, or dangerous maneuver that showcases your technical wrestling ability, so it would be a plus work roll. Unless there's no way that you can do this without working with YBK, in which case it's plus heat.
Well, I think like this would be part of the part of the choreograph of the sword. Like this is how it was supposed to end.
Yeah, because you're not a sword fighter.
Yeah.
Like, we know that you're full of dirty tricks. And,
yeah, so it was,
like you play up being a hero, but you're not really.
Yeah, so wait for like a break and do it that way.
Okay, so I guess roll for that then. Roll plus heat. Okay, yeah, that's a totally
10.
You hit it great. You retain control, and you either gain 2 momentum or gain 1 heat with your opponent. Okay, how much heat do you have with him now?
I will gain 1 heat. 2.
Okay, good. Please get more heat with me.
Yeah. And then yeah, so
on the floor outside the ring.
YBK's outside the ring now. Then I'm just gonna climb out of the ropes and jump from ringside just to do a dive bomb on YBK. Which one would that one be? Would that be? Because that's just like a standard.
That would be difficult, demanding, and
move.
dangerous if you think it's standard, so it would be plus work. Are you planning to land on top of him? That might be legit risk. In which case it would be plus power instead.
Okay.
But it doesn't necessarily use your physical strength, so I think plus work works better here.
Ew. Yeah, I'll take the work because.
Oh god. I'm looking at his character sheet.
Wait.
Oh wait, no it isn't, it's a success!
Yeah, 7.
Oh my god!
7. It's good thing we went for that one.
Oh, this is brutal. This is a brutal match.
Yeah, you hit it pretty well, so you can either retain control and transition into the next sequence, or give your opponent control and gain +1 momentum.
Yeah, so I'm going to carry on. So I will pick up YBK and just like throw him back into the ring. And like go in afterwards. And then think I'll try for a early pin, see if we can get this.
I gave you 3 options for how this match will end
over
in
and
the
done
chat.
with.
Have you chosen one of them? Is it the first one, the second one, or the third one?
Yeah, we've
The
chosen
second one.
one.
Okay.
We have.
So yeah, you rolled. You go to attempt to pin. I guess this would be your finisher. I guess it's not even your finisher, honestly. If he's like lying prostrate, then there's no need for a finisher. You can just put him back in the ring and pin him. Because this isn't force count anywhere. You do have to get him back in the ring. Yeah, I know you did. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I threw him back in the ring. That's why I followed him in. Yeah, we'll try for that. So
yeah.
Because we chose number 2. I assume it's going to be.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably he gets out on 2.
Tap. Yeah, so let him get on 2, and then
sure.
I assume he would then
passing,
pick up
passing control back then.
The narrative.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, though, if you still have control, then Maxi might need to use interrupt here. Yes, absolutely. But you
can
will need
the
to spend
interrupt
one momentum
then
to do
be like getting out of the pin, like kick out?
it. Okay.
I'll do it.
You kick out. You have control.
Okay.
All right. I feel as though then at this point, no pretenses, no posturing, no like the cold, unaffected arrogance that we previously seen. I'm gonna like grab you by the neck while you're like still on the floor, like have it like just rush you round the neck, and I just start like just punching you while you're on the floor,
This
like
is-
into submission.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with how this isn't work real stiff, especially knowing what you're about to do. I mean, you just mentioned what you're going to do, like the move you're going to do after this one.
Got this thing.
I guess it could be legit risk if you are technically pulling your punches, but like you can't, because there's camera scrutiny, right? So you can't pull them too much, but you can pull them enough that you're not actually punching your friend to death.
Yeah. So can that still be heat? Like, you have to, like, you got to imagine.
Yeah,
that,
I think
you know,
letting
when
him
wrestlers,
protect
like,
his head
will
is not the same thing as
protect their
actively
heads,
working with him. I think
like, they'll
no,
just,
this
like,
is
hold
a
that-
you're putting your opponent at legit risk by using your physical strength. So roll plus power. There's a lot of leeway that we have in this game, but you don't
Let's hope for a good
you don't
roll.
get the wrestling move
Oh,
type you always want.
jeez.
I'm fucking.
Okay, you hit it
it's a good
great,
roll.
which I
thank
presume
God.
means that it looks really painful, but it
10.
actually isn't. Retain control and either gain +2 momentum or +1 heat with your opponent. Do you already have 4 heat with him? Yeah, you can't have more than 4 heat, so you have to have the momentum.
I got 4 heat, so it's got to be.
And you retain control, so what now?
Well, I guess like I wanna finish this, but like I had an idea in mind that's like very, I think like very in character and
I mean,
very like
has the narrative that we've established made it
establishing
impossible
of
to
like
do?
this
Because
grudge
otherwise you
getting
should just
worse. Well, also this actually
Okay.
helps with like his bad leg, so I'm technically keeping him off his leg and
Okay.
helping him. I'm gonna put Bad Jack across my shoulders, and
You're kidnapping him.
I'm kidnapping him.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kidnapping him. I'm leaving the arena. Follow me.
Sean turns to look at
This is my heel move.
to look at Whitney and says, I don't know what it is that we're seeing here, Whitney. It would appear that your best nightmare is now taking Bad Jack and leaving the arena with him. What? I will remind the viewers at home that this is a hardcore match where participants cannot be disqualified and as such cannot be counted out of the ring. So leaving the arena is not technically an end to the match, but I don't know that we're going to get a conclusion here, because it would seem that they're disappearing. They're disappearing backstage. The camera is like
Cut to the cameras.
Beth, does Whitney have anything to say? They just look, yeah.
Whitney just looks at Sean aghast and just opens up her water bottle and takes a big long ass drink and just looks into the camera and goes, "That's wrestling."
Right. We you know, I think we can go to Amber in the back to maybe see if backstage. Yes, now I see us on the screen. Are we back? The reconnection was successful. Have we
Okay, then.
returned? We have one concurrent viewer who may not. That may be me, actually. But hopefully we'll be okay now. We're so close to the end is the annoying thing. Like, we totally don't have much longer. So what I was saying, I think.
Yeah, I'm
maybe
trying
nobody
to
could hear me
finish
because
it. I'm
there
trying
was
to, like,
a strange
do
network
this.
problem there. Was this is not the heels move where you win a match overriding creative booking, because nothing you have done would actually cause you to win the match. But it is also not the heels move to get out of a match you've been booked in, because that's supposed to be used before the match actually starts. And it's not the heels move to leave someone helplessly lying on the floor, because you've done literally the opposite of that. and you can't gain any more heat with your opponent. So this isn't any of the heal's moves. Is there like a payoff to this? Is there something else that you're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
where
will
are
end
you
up
doing
leaving
that?
him lifeless on the floor. I'm basically like going to
Okay.
just into like the locker room, and I want to throw him into one of the lockers, and then like the camera just sees me like kicking into the locker, like proper curb stomping, and then I just like shut the locker door with like what a little bit of him like
sure.
hanging
There'd
out
be like
limply,
a camera
and I just
following
walk
you
away.
back. I think probably there was like a cut to Amber where it's like, where is he? Can you find him? And Amber's like, I don't know where he is. But in fact, there was a camera, so they, like, everybody saw you do that. You win the match by default, but it is a dirty win, even by heel standards, and as such, it doesn't really count with regard to the crowd's estimation of the end of the feud or who has actually won it. Which is what I told you to do in... Yeah, I told you that this match would have been booked to end in an upset victory, and then like nobody actually considered that most of the ways that an upset victory can happen are in fact precluded by the stipulation that YBK adds to the match.
I just wanted to completely humiliate him, like, and I thought that was a good sort of like, I'm gonna deposit you like the trash you are in just like a locker after I kick the shit out of you in it, and then walk away, because like, yeah, I wanted to hurt you, but now you're not worth it. I'm playing a real asshole. Okay, I'm playing a real bastard, and I love it.
I think I think that's we want to like wrap up, I think, in the real world. So I think the show itself probably had one more match, and this would have been a match to determine who was going to fight. Who a match to determine ostensibly what the match to challenge for the Greatest Champion title was. This is the way of getting into the Greatest Champ picture that doesn't involve the Knightmare title. I don't know who it was played between, like wrestlers higher up the card than you, we'll say, but I think maybe people took note of the results in the dirt sheet, but they were all sort of talking about that absolutely brutal match where Bad Jack got stuck in a locker. You know? That was probably the highlight of the night. So I think the episode ends with it being established that Jack is conscious and okay, but it's probably like exacerbated his injury a bit. To have been stuck in there.
Yeah.
Are we gonna do a bit where we're like out of
we totally
out
could
of
do,
Persona?
actually, because there's a thing for that. Let me see. Let me see. I don't know that there are necessarily any moves for this that aren't gimmick specific. But we can totally make it after the show. I think the show just ends. It's established that somebody is going to go and challenge some absolute monster heel for the main title, and that at some point the Knightmare title holder is entitled to interfere in some way. Although I don't know, does anybody really take Captain Shadowmoon that seriously in terms of like fighting other monster heals? Basically, I think they're expecting her to cheat.
I don't.
Right. Okay. Okay. And she will. However.
But yeah, I think like backstage after the show is done, in the locker room, what's happening? Describe it to me.
So I've like taken off all like my stuff. I'm no longer your best nightmare. I'm just Kyle, and I'm going to go over to Damien,
who is currently sitting completely normal clothing on the bench. He's just like rubbing the leg where it was hurt, just testing it, minding it a little bit.
I'll sit down next to him and like, hey, you okay?
He's so rough all the time, and I give him a plate.
Hey, let me have a look at it.
Just stop it. Just stop.
I was going to say this is very homoerotic,
We'll
but I
do some
remember that
work
we're
on it.
literally playing a tabletop role-playing game
Fine.
about pro wrestling. Like, that's fine. That works.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just like keep stretching it out. Okay.
I think like actual medics have
gonna
probably
bruise us a bit.
seen to
Oh, yeah,
your leg.
absolutely.
Like,
I'm
the
sorry.
fact that you got for real injured is probably not a secret backstage.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully not, unless you're like hiding it somehow. But I feel like they would have seen like the actual injury happen.
Oh no. Because it was only like one box
I think it's
of
slightly
injury,
more than
I imagine
that. Like
it's
bruises. I
gonna
think anything
bruise,
up to the
like
thumbtack spot, you could count as not actually getting injured. But like this is something went wrong and you've been injured, which means that you probably have like a sprain or something. It's not serious, but it's going to either change or prevent bits
something like
of
that.
how
Something
you
which
wrestle
is
for the like coming season and definitely for the pay-per-view.
yeah.
Do you want to order things back to the hotel room, or are you up to going out?
No, let's go back to the hotel room.
All right. I kind of like pull you back up and like kind of lean you on, support you.
Sure, I'm like being supported.
All right. Can you walk on your own, or do you need me to carry you the rest of the way?
Just support me, will you? And I hobble a little
I think
bit,
you see
'cause it's
has to walk by,
painful
like,
now.
wiping off
It's like-
his
it's
face
like
paint.
the
His
leg.
real name's Mark. He's real hard in on like a locker room union, is what you know about him. But he stops and says, "Oh hey, are you two all right?" That was super hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, just from listening, it kind of seems like you got away with it. Crowd's real buzzed, so actually, you should do like maybe meet and greets if you can. They have a chair if you want to sit down. I mean, like if you're like for real injured, maybe you don't want to actually.
We'll do that.
Yeah, it's just I was already like taking this off.
No, it's fine.
Daphne
we'll do it.
and Charlotte are already outside. Because I mean, like you'd do that, wouldn't you, Beth? Like Daphne would do meet and greets, probably with like small children who think that her gimmick's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah.
And it is.
Kyle's just gonna kind of like smile and just go like oh, you're gonna suck it up.
Yeah,
with fans?
Mark's nearby. He's
Is
just dressed in yellow
Hasta,
now though. 'Cause
whether
he's
his name's
face
still
paint.
about. Then I'll lower my voice and just give you a cheeky touch on the bum, like, let's suck something off later, but
Great.
we've got plans.
I kind of just rock you in a way that like threatens to put you back on your bad leg. I will stop you. But I've also like got my hand on your waist so that like I'm not actually gonna drop you. I just want to mess with you because
Okay, stop.
So Kyle is going to take his ridiculous boyfriend out.
Okay, cool. I think like a lot of fans are like
We'll go to the meet and greets.
lining up like to see the two of you.
That was a good thing to stop.
Because that was brutal. I think there's probably a lot of fans. Beth, I think Charlotte has put in those like wild animal contacts. Yeah, like she's really playing up the getting turned bit as like an after show thing. Because a lot of your fans like the devotion to kayfabe stuff. Either because like they're happy being marks or because they are literally children.
Yeah. Definitely like spending time with the younger fans anyway. Like she's a mom anyway, so like she likes to, she likes to make children happy.
There's
she
a fair
likes
few photo
to
ops that I think probably
spend that time with
you
them
end up
and
having.
make the magic. Good. Yeah, I think there's like one with like loads of like kids with like wolf ears on, all doing like a growl, and she's like.
I mean, it is, but it's also
no,
like
it doesn't have to be weird.
Oh, no.
It can be cute.
we sell more
It's
merch.
fine. It's okay. It's just
if we
a
invent
Halloween
furries.
costume. I mean, yeah, I imagine there were going to be like a lot of like teens and young adults who, when they were like, "Hey, you remember this wrestler?"
Remember
I was,
that
really into her as a
like
kid,
match
and now I'm a
on the
furry.
episode with the really really brutal like night fight. Remember her like turning Abby Van Helsing? That was cool, but also I felt weird. Yeah. Yes, it was. Yeah.
That was an enlightening experience. And
I
turning
mean, we
point
probably
for
shouldn't be saying
monsters.
that when you're live on stream, but it's true though.
It's true. It's true.
yeah.
Have we actually done the Ronald Reagan invented
Ronald
furries
Reagan
rant on a
started it, I will
podcast? Because we
finish
should
it,
probably get it in
okay?
at some point. Okay then.
I don't know, but he did.
I hate.
He didn't invent furries, but we are all furries thanks to Ronald Reagan. That's.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
I
we're
guess.
all into robots because of him. It
Anyway,
depends on
that
your
was
lead-ins.
fun. I didn't get to read as much of the book as I would have liked to do in the lead up, so we almost certainly did a lot of that wrong. But I attempted to like stick to the spirit of the game. So it's like when I didn't know whether to do something, I was like, well, does this actually work for the narrative of the match? Because that seems to be what the rules keep coming back to. How did you all feel about Worldwide Wrestling?
I had fun. I had fun.
I had fun.
I don't know anything more about wrestling, but I had fun.
No, I mean, this wasn't
Did I
that
learn anything?
off in
Not
terms
really.
of like what an actual episode of a weekly wrestling show might be like. I mean, I think I'd always planned pretty much since I knew that Beth was going with Shadowmoon as a gimmick that it was going to be a slightly more fantasy gimmick focused promotion, just because I thought that would probably work slightly better. And also it allowed me to do Izzy and Kai as a joke by just having them be like normal people who like wrestle strong style. it heavily implies that everybody else on the roster is some sort of weird, like, fantasy wrestler gimmick of some description. It's true. Also, I mean, for all that his gimmick itself is not that weird, the things that Bad Jack did in that match.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad Jack's just an
but he's like a
Arthurian
gritty
hero.
reboot of
It's
an
fine.
Arthurian
Don't
hero.
worry
This is the
about it.
anti-hero.
Yeah, he's like the inevitable.
Yeah.
I mean, they have made a King Arthur movie like that because they can't do public domain characters correctly and update.
Oh
them
yeah,
to
he did it about that
context. Dan
fucking.
also did a whole video on it. But the point is,
yeah, the Robin Hood movie where it's like I kind of want to see that because
that
it
shitty
almost
Robin Hood
looks
movie,
like
yeah.
the idea, like it has such a strong aesthetic.
Honestly, yeah, right, okay. I used to work in a movie theatre, and I saw bits of that when I was helping the ushers clean screens. It is. Shit,
Yeah, like the
but it has a very
devotion-
It's basically
like,
Call of Duty.
I
and
have
Robin
no
Hood.
doubt.
It
I have
just-
zero
it-
doubt that the actual
it
plot of
doesn't
the
work,
film and the
but
acting and whatever
it's a
are
thing.
not good.
It's a movie
But
that exists.
the costume
I mean,
and environment
actually, the
designed
acting,
to
fine.
like
It's
it's
just everything else about
all
that
the
movie is
hallmarks
bad.
of a post 9/11 militarized police state, but everything is made out of like medieval shit. Is kind of rad, honestly, and I would like, yeah.
They just can't. They can't. And there was a King Arthur movie not long ago as well that just didn't work. It was a Guy Ritchie one, I think, and it just didn't work. And it's really sad because like the public domain is literally like,
And they keep nicking bits
it's
of
the
it.
only thing we've got against Disney and Marvel, guys. Only the joint
What
forces
about
of Sherlock Holmes,
original
Robin Hood,
content?
King Arthur, and Dracula can defeat Disney.
Oh.
Nah.
Well
nah.
then,
Hollywood
thank
will
you
never
for
go for
joining
something
us on
original.
the Game of Bards where we played Worldwide Wrestling. I had fun. I hope all of you did too, including the people at home. The small number of viewers that we have. It is more than zero, but I would imagine that the audience of the replay of this will be
But it's more than
slightly
zero.
greater.
It's
We're
an audience.
coming in at just about 4 hours, which is maybe a bit long, but I think for the frequency that we're going to get to do these, it's probably fine. I have lots. Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's going to be
I
like
guess the ball's in
who
my
has
court next,
ideas
isn't it?
for
to
the Game
do.
of Bards, right? I presume that you have ideas, but we don't need to do like a back and forth thing. It's like basically
I have
when
a
I started
couple.
streaming
I have
for
a
myself,
couple.
I very quickly realized, and this is probably why I should start doing it again. Streaming was an outlet for me to play games that I didn't play normally. Like, basically, because something had to be interesting for the viewers, I was like, I'll get an opportunity to play this game for a little bit, and then I don't have to commit to it otherwise. And I play like lots of cool... And that's kind of what I wanted to do by bringing back the Game of Bards. I was like, there are all these cool tabletop games that I don't have a group for, and I don't necessarily want to play them for very long, but I want to play them. So I have a load of ideas in the tank. There's one really high concept Fate game that is probably going to take place over multiple sessions, which means that we would probably have to get a consistent group for that one. But I also kind of want to play Alas Earwax, and there were a couple of other things as well. That'd be cool.
I definitely have a monster of the week I'd like to run. So
you've been saying that you wanted to
not
play.
nothing. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I do, but maybe I
have
don't know.
in the
I'm
past
still up in the air
objected to
about that
Monster
one.
Hearts. I have a pretty strong objection to something that's pretty core in the game, but I might be prepared basically, my personal situation has changed to the point where, although I still have this same problem, it doesn't affect me anymore. So if everybody else were cool, then maybe we could do Monster Hearts. But if you have a Monster of the Week you wanted to do, that's kind of cool. There's definitely this big high concept Fate game that I want to do. I am writing a Powered by the Apocalypse game. It is nowhere near completion, but when it is, I probably would want to like test it out on a game of Bards. Give it some, you know, some visibility.
All right, then I definitely as well. I want to run a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, that would be cool. Actually,
that would be fun.
Superheroes is definitely. I don't know what system you'd run that in. They do. I thought it was out of
Marvel
print.
have their own RPG. I'm not actually sure how good it is.
So
but
it might be hard to get hold of,
it,
especially in like a PDF form. Alternatively, very easy to get hold of in PDF form.
It might
if
be,
somebody
but
has
like,
scanned it, because Marvel are not keeping track of who's illegally distributing it. We'll see. Oh, additionally, there's definitely something I want to do with lasers and feelings, or possibly a hack thereof. So that might be something potentially to do. It is the holiday period, so I would imagine we're not going to do another of these immediately, just because people are busy and they have family obligations and things like that. But in the new year, maybe? I definitely want to do that big high concept Fate thing pretty much as soon as we can figure out who to get for it. The cast is not going to stay the same. It's we got Maxi and Ryan in. Well, we got Ryan in because Maxi recommended Ryan. We would have had Ben and Maxi because they were like go-to people for who do we know who's a wrestling fan. Beth just sort of got grandfathered in by virtue of being half of the podcast. This will continue to happen.
Yeah,
this isn't a democracy.
Pure nepotism on my part. You know.
You don't get a say.
You don't get a say.
I mean, there's a possibility
just like
for
in
a
real
game
life
of Bards
politics.
where one or other of us is absent if that's the point. If like we do one of those because we can't like do an episode of the podcast because one of us is absent, like maybe we would do something like that. I don't know. But in the meantime, the lineup, apart from the two of us in future Game of Bards, will change, and it will probably change in relation to who we think would be a good fit amongst people we know for whatever concept it is that we're running. Also, we have to think about people who have reasonably decent mic quality if we're going to do production, this kind of thing. We don't have very high standards, but there are some people I play with regularly over the internet who are their microphone records sound, let's put it that way. You put words into it, and technically speaking, those same noises are reproduced at the other end of the internet connection. Yeah, it's not the best, but at the very least we can understand one another. So, thank you for joining us all on the Game of Bards Worldwide Wrestling. Big shout out to Nathan D. Paoletta, who created Worldwide Wrestling and its expansion, International Incident. Did anybody actually use anything from this session? I don't think we did.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think actually. No,
I would
think
personally
I looked
recommend
at it.
that.
I read it through, but I didn't.
I think you can still get them in a bundle.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah, on Itch.io, the Itch.io bundle might still be. I don't know if that one's still on. It might not be. If not, the game itself is not actually that expensive. From ndpdesign.com. Or at, I guess, Drive-Thru RPG, you could get it. But I would recommend International Incident because it adds the Mexican lucha libre, Japanese puro resu, British grappling, and modern global indie styles of wrestling. And there's a whole load of new content in addition to what's going on, including new example wrestlers, which I think is a big deal if you're not going to go through yourself as creative and like come up with actual non-player wrestlers. I would have liked to have a bigger roster of actual players in this game, but unfortunately Ben wasn't able to make it, so that was that. I think this went pretty well for like a first stab at bringing the game of Bards back. So yeah, thank you for indulging us, and we will see you next time, whenever that may be. So from me, Alex, goodbye. From Beth, from Maxie, and from Ryan.
Bye-bye.
This has been the Game of
Bye.
Bards. Bye-bye.
Adieu.